Chapter 23. Stop, Lien Sanjun. Today is my grandfather's 70th birthday. If you dare to be impudent, don't blame me for being impolite. Just as Yi Chunfeng and Lien Sanjun were about to draw their swords, Bai Xia couldn't stand it anymore. She stood in front of Yi Chunfeng and warned him loudly. Ji Qingshue's face also darkened. Although she didn't like Yi Chunfeng, she didn't believe that Yi Chunfeng would harass a woman who was far less beautiful than him in public. Xia, it's not that I don't want to give you face, but this brat is too hateful. Lien Sanjun didn't expect that Bai Xia would stand up for Yi Chunfeng. He became even more furious as he spoke in a low voice. I believe in Chengfeng's character. He wouldn't do such a thing. Bai Xia ignored Lien Sanjuan's angry gaze and supported Yi Chunfeng. I also believe that Chunfeng was wronged. I hope you won't provoke us again. Otherwise, I will make you regret it. Ji Qingxue warned coldly. Yi Chunfeng, you coward. Do you only know how to hide behind a woman after doing such a despicable thing? Where was your aura just now? Are you still a man? Lien Sanjun looked at Bai Xia and Ji Qingxue, who supported him and targeted him. His face was so gloomy that it was about to drip water. It could be said that his plan to humiliate Yi Chunfeng and attract Ji Qingxue was ruined. Facing Lien Sanjuan's provocation, Yi Chunfeng wasn't affected at all. He slowly said, Qingxue, Xia, their target is me. If they don't achieve their goal, they won't give up. Let me deal with this. Qingfeng, Lien Sanjun is a rank 3 spiritual beast. You are definitely not his match. Bai Xia already knew that Yi Chunfeng couldn't condense a spiritual beast because of his soul. He couldn't cultivate soul power either. Therefore, challenging a rank 3 spiritual beast with the strength of a mortal was no different from asking for a beating. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Yi Chunfeng revealed a confident smile and said, Lien Sanjun, how about we make a bet? The loser will crawl out of here. Yi Chunfeng, it seems like you're very confident. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's suggestion, Lien Sanjun frowned slightly. The way he looked at Yi Chunfeng changed slightly. What? You don't dare? Yi Chunfeng sneered. He imitated Lien Sanjuan's words and mocked him. Where's your imposing manner? Are you still a man? Yi Chunfeng, I'd like to see who will be the one crawling out of here in the end. Lien Sanjun was completely enraged by Yi Chunfeng's provocation, and a powerful wave of soul power erupted from his body. Spiritual beast, black tortoise fusion. With a thought, Lien Sanjuan's body merged with his spirit beast, the black tortoise, and his strength was amplified to the greatest extent. With a strong sense of oppression, he threw a punch at Yi Chunfeng. You will be disappointed in the end. Yi Chunfeng quickly took a step forward, and a thunderous sound came from under his feet. Yi Chunfeng swung his right palm to meet Lien Sanjuan's punch. When Lien Sanjuan's fist, which was filled with soul power, smashed into Yi Chunfeng's palm, Yi Chunfeng's skin trembled. A force that Lien Sanjun couldn't resist erupted from his palm. The powerful force made Lien Sanjun unable to take another step forward. It also shattered the soul power in his fist, and he felt as if his arm was about to break. How can this be? Lien Sanjun frowned, and a look of horror appeared on his sinister face. Is this Yi Chunfeng a humanoid monster? How can his physical strength be so terrifying? While Lien Sanjun was in a daze, Yi Chunfeng appeared in front of him and punched his chest with a powerful fist. In this dangerous situation, Lien Sanjun stimulated his body's potential. He quickly took a step back and his legs spun like a top. He kicked out 18 times in a row, and his legs intertwined with each other to create a shadow of a leg. He wanted to force Yi Chunfeng back. Lien Sanjuan's series of counterattacks were very fierce, and even a Class 4 spirit beast would have a hard time blocking them. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength could easily crush a Class 6 spirit beast, and he didn't care about Lien Sanjuan's counterattacks at all. Purring, purring, purring. Yi Chunfeng rushed into the shadow of Lien Sanjuan's kicks, and his oppressive fist smashed the shadow of Lien Sanjuan's kicks one after another. Then, he grabbed onto Lien Sanjuan's ankle. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng shook his right shoulder, and his skin trembled again. A powerful force instantly suppressed the soul power in Lien Sanjuan's body, and he was directly pulled down from the air. He fell heavily to the ground. Black Tortoise attack. The moment his body hit the ground, Lien Sanjun clenched his teeth and summoned his Black Tortoise. He attacked Yi Chunfeng at close range. Chunfeng, be careful. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was in danger, Ji Qingshue's heart tightened. Her soul power burst forth, and she condensed her ice bird to help. Break for me. After cultivating the soul-devouring art, Yi Chunfeng's soul perception was far better than ordinary people. The moment Lien Sanjun controlled the Black Tortoise to attack, he reacted. 2,500 kilograms of strength poured into Yi Chunfeng's right fist, and he punched the Black Tortoise. Although the Black Tortoise was a spiritual beast, its body's defense was far better than ordinary spiritual beasts. Even a Class 4 spirit beast would have a hard time breaking its body's defense. However, after being hit by Yi Chunfeng's 2,500 kilograms of force, the Black Tortoise's hard body began to crack like glass. In the end, the Black Tortoise roared in pain and directly exploded. This figure, after witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng exploding the Black Tortoise with one punch, a figure that Bai Xia had always dreamed of appeared in her mind. The idea that she had rejected earlier appeared in her mind again. She had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng was that Master Chun. PFFF, after the Black Tortoise exploded from Yi Chunfeng's punch, Lien Sanjun immediately suffered soul power backlash. Several blood vessels in his head burst open, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Seeing this scene, Di Wanxian, who wanted to watch a good show, felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over him. His entire body trembled, and he was dumbfounded. The beautiful woman who framed Yi Chunfeng turned pale with fright. She was in a panic and didn't dare to look into Yi Chunfeng's eyes. Lien Sanjun, the outcome has been decided. You can crawl out of here. Yi Chunfeng placed his hands behind his back as he coldly looked at Lien Sanjun, who was bleeding from his 7 orifices. Yi Chunfeng, I advise you to leave some leeway when you do things. Otherwise, you'll regret it. Asking him to crawl out of the Bai clan like a dog was worse than killing him. If he really did crawl out, he'd become the laughingstock of Pale Emperor City. I don't like to repeat myself. If you don't crawl out of here, then I'll have to help you. Yi Chunfeng's eyes narrowed into slits, and a sharp light shot out from them. Lien Sanjun suddenly felt suffocated when he met Yi Chunfeng's gaze. His legs began to tremble uncontrollably. Stop! Just as Lien Sanjun couldn't withstand Yi Chunfeng's physical pressure and didn't know what to do, an angry roar rang out. Chapter 24. Sanjun, how are you? Are your injuries serious? Looking at his beloved son lying on the ground bleeding from his 7 orifices, Lien Wansong felt a surge of anger rushing to his head. His eyes flickered with uncontrollable anger, and the muscles at the corners of his eyes were violently trembling. Father, big brother, you must avenge me and tear that little bastard to pieces. With the arrival of reinforcements, the seriously injured Lien Sanjun let out a long sigh of relief. His eyes were filled with resentment as he looked at Yi Chunfeng and wailed loudly. Yi Chunfeng, you trash! How dare you hit my brother? I think you must have eaten a bear's heart or a leopard's gall. As the #1 genius of the White Emperor Martial House, Lien Yulong was very arrogant. He would never allow anyone to bully his Lien family. What? You want to stand up for your brother? Yi Chunfeng coldly looked at him and said. Although Lien Yulong was very strong, today was different. The current Lien Yulong was no longer a threat to Yi Chunfeng. You hit my brother. Shouldn't I seek justice for him? Lien Yulong sneered. A powerful aura emitted from his body, oppressing Yi Chunfeng. Then you mean I should stretch my neck and wait for your brother to attack me? Yi Chunfeng sneered. His tall and straight body didn't move under the pressure of Lien Yulong's aura. Today's matter is not Chengfeng's fault. He was first wronged by this woman, then provoked by Lien Sanjun. I think many people here can testify. Although the Bai family and the Lien family were old friends, Bai Xia couldn't stand the two brothers' domineering and arrogant characters. She stood out to testify for Yi Chenfeng. Is that so? I'd like to see who will stand out to testify, Lien Yulong said with a gloomy face. His deep eyes flashed with a chilling light as he looked at the surrounding crowd. Due to the threat in Lien Yulong's eyes, no one dared to testify. The beautiful woman was so scared that her face turned pale. For a moment, the atmosphere was unprecedentedly tense. I'll testify that your brother brought this upon himself. The great clans of White Emperor City were afraid of Lien Yulong's revenge, but Ji Qingxue was not. She released an aura that was not weaker than Lien Yulong's and stood beside Yi Chenfeng. Who are you? Lien Wansong and Lien Yulong came later and didn't know Ji Qingxue. However, when Lien Yulong carefully looked at Ji Qingxue, he found that she was even more beautiful than Bai Xia. His eyes shone with a fiery light as perverted thoughts appeared in his mind. You don't deserve to know who I am. Although Lien Yulong was very strong and had unlimited potential, Ji Qingxue did not take him seriously and said with contempt, Really? But I still need to know who you are today. As he spoke, Lien Yulong's soul power burst forth from his mind. Billowing soul power rose into the air like smoke signals and instantly condensed into a 3-meter-long crocodile covered in black scales. Its jaws were strong and powerful, and its mouth was covered in dense conical iron teeth. It emitted a dazzling white light. A level 6 spiritual beast. This Lien Yulong has actually broken through to the level 6 spiritual beast realm. The spiritual beast of an ordinary spiritual beast master would emit a soft white light, but the spiritual beast condensed by Lien Yulong emitted a dazzling white light. Obviously, his strength had reached the limit of a spiritual beast master, and he would be able to break through to the level 1 spiritual beast master realm. Sigh, those two young people are going to be unlucky. They are blind to provoke the Lien family. Even if they don't die today, they will lose a layer of skin. After witnessing Lien Yulong's strength, the onlookers discussed animatedly. Many people even felt sorry for Yi Chenfeng and Bai Xia. Just when everyone was not optimistic about Yi Chenfeng and Bai Xia, Ji Qingxue also condensed her spiritual beast, Ice Bird. In an instant, the surrounding temperature plummeted and many people felt a strong chill. Well, who are you? Lien Yulong did not expect Ji Qingxue to also be a level 6 spiritual beast master. Moreover, her spiritual beast's level was higher than his iron-teethed crocodile. The proud smile on his face instantly froze. I told you. You don't deserve to know who I am. Ji Qingxue sneered and said arrogantly. Seeing Ji Qingxue standing up for him, Yi Chenfeng was slightly touched and changed his view of her. I don't care who you are, but this is White Emperor City. If you don't give my Lien family an explanation today, my Lien family will not let this go. Lien Wansong glared at Ji Qingxue and Yi Chenfeng and threatened with a gloomy face. What a big tone. If your Lien family wants to be enemies with my Ji family, I will accompany you at any time. But I'm afraid you can't bear the consequences. Ji Qingxue snorted and reported her background. Ji family, you are from the Imperial City's Ji family. After knowing Ji Qingxue's identity, Lien Wansong's face changed greatly. He did not expect Ji Qingxue's background to be so deep. His eyes revealed deep fear. Uncle Lien Qingxue, today is my grandfather's 70th birthday. Please give my Bai family some face and let this matter go. Don't make any more trouble. Just as Lien Wansong's face was uncertain and he was thinking of a solution, Bai Xia began to mediate. Okay, I will give Elder Bai face today and let this matter go. Yulong, take the 3 armies and let's go. Although the Lien family was a wealthy family in White Emperor City, Compared to the Ji family, the family's strength was far inferior. Helpless, Lien Wansong had to give in. But when the gloomy Lien Yulong turned and left, Yi Chunfeng caught a trace of dense killing intent in his eyes. Obviously, Lien Yulong was apprehensive of Ji Qingshua's identity, but he was not afraid of Yi Chunfeng and wanted to kill him. However, Yi Chunfeng did not care. If Lien Yulong dared to secretly kill him, he did not mind devouring Lien Yulong's spirit beast and sending him to hell. "I'm sorry, Chunfeng, Qingxue, I didn't expect this to happen." After Lien Yulong and the others left, Bai Xia said with an apologetic face. Her beautiful big eyes kept sizing up Yi Chunfeng, trying to find clues. "It's not your fault. If you want to blame someone, blame them for being too arrogant." Yi Chunfeng smiled and said softly. His mood was not affected by what had just happened. "Chunfeng, I didn't expect you to be so powerful." Ji Qingxue looked at Yi Chunfeng with a smile. She had a strong curiosity about his expression just now. She was curious about how Yi Chunfeng could burst out with such terrifying physical strength without a spirit beast and break the rules. Because of the conflict with the Lien family, Yi Chunfeng and Ji Qingxue did not stay in the Bai family for long and left early. On the third day after Bai Xishan's birthday banquet, the news of Ji Qingxue and Yi Chunfeng privately pledging their marriage to each other exploded in Zijin Imperial City. After hearing this news, Zijin Imperial City's #1 family, the Jiang family, was furious. The relationship between the Jiang and Ji families began to deteriorate. The Jiang family sent assassins to White Emperor City secretly to assassinate Yi Chunfeng. Chapter 25. The first rays of the morning sun shone brightly in the east. The deep sky shook off the blue veil and illuminated the earth. I wonder to what extent these two raging flame pills can temper my physical body. Yi Chunfeng was soaking in a secluded cold pond deep in the Baiyun mountain range. He took out an intense flame pill and swallowed it without diluting it. The moment the intense flame pill entered Yi Chunfeng's body, it immediately released a scorching heat that burned his body. Even though he had already swallowed the intense flame pill before, the instant pain caused his face to turn pale. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and endured the scorching pain in his body. He began to cultivate the 6 Meridians Divine Shield, fusing the scorching medicinal power released by the intense flame pill into his cells and transforming his body. Although the intense flame pill's effect of tempering the body was obvious, the tempering process was extremely painful. Yi Chunfeng's meridians were burned full of holes by the scorching energy. The inhumane pain tormented him to the point where he wished he was dead. Veins that looked like loaches were constantly moving on his forehead. His pale face was devoid of any color. If not for the cold pond water counteracting a small portion of the intense flame pill's medicinal power, the pain Yi Chunfeng was enduring would have been even more intense. Low-grade soul crystals, devour. Yi Chunfeng gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. He quickly circulated the soul-devouring art and devoured the 2 low-grade soul crystals in his palms, accelerating the transformation of his body. As a large amount of medicinal power and soul power fused into Yi Chunfeng's body, his cells split faster and faster. A large amount of impurities in his body were expelled from his body through his opened pores. Gradually, Yi Chunfeng's body became stronger and stronger. The pain in his body also decreased. After about 5 hours, Yi Chunfeng finally succeeded in absorbing all the medicinal power of the intense flame pill. The 2 low-grade soul crystals in his palms did not have much soul power left. Huff huff, the tempering of my body is 2/3 complete. My strength has increased by nearly 500 kilograms. I estimate that after refining another intense flame pill, my body tempering will be successful. Yi Chunfeng, who was on the verge of collapsing, climbed up from the cold pond where white smoke was floating. He muttered to himself as he sensed the changes in his body. 2/3 of his body had been tempered, and his recovery ability had greatly increased. In just a dozen breaths of time, Yi Chunfeng's weakness had been swept away. All the cells in his body crazily absorbed the thin spiritual chi of heaven and earth around him, restoring his physical strength. I hope the remaining raging flame pill can help me complete the body tempering. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and began to absorb the remaining soul power from the 2 low-grade soul crystals. He adjusted his condition and prepared to consume the last raging flame pill. While Yi Chunfeng was hiding in the Baiyun Mountains and working hard to break through to the second stage of the 6 Meridians Divine Shield Realm, the assassins sent by the Jiang clan secretly infiltrated White Emperor City to assassinate Yi Chunfeng and kidnap Ji Qingxue. Qingxue, I'm really sorry about that day. I didn't expect Lian Sanjun to frame Qingfeng. I hope you and Qingfeng don't mind. Since Yi Chunfeng wasn't around, Ji Qingxue, who was bored, asked Bai Xia out for a stroll. Bai Xia said apologetically as they strolled along the bluestone streets of White Emperor City. It's okay. Qingfeng and I don't mind, Ji Qingxue said softly with a charming smile. Oh right, Qingxue, what kind of person is Qingfeng? Bai Xia asked softly. She wanted to know more about Yi Chunfeng from Ji Qingxue. However, what Bai Xia didn't know was that Ji Qingxue didn't know Yi Chunfeng at all. The reason why they had decided to live together for the rest of their lives was because of a deal. Qingfeng. He's a little stingy and a little chauvinistic, but he can give people a sense of security, Ji Qingxue said slowly. Ji Qingxue pondered for a moment, then slowly opened her mouth. She herself didn't know that when she talked about Yi Chunfeng, there was a faint smile on her face. As they talked, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia arrived at the outskirts of White Emperor City, beside a white lake surrounded by reed. A cool breeze blew past, causing ripples to appear on the surface of the lake. The refreshing feeling made them feel even more relaxed and comfortable. Just as they were about to find a deserted place to sit down and rest, Ji Qingxue suddenly stopped in her tracks. Her eyes revealed a deep sense of vigilance. What's wrong, Qingxue? Although Bai Xia didn't sense any danger because of her strength, she still saw the suspicion on Ji Qingxue's face and asked nervously. Xia, don't speak. Quickly follow me. Ji Qingxue quickened her pace as she took out a black crystal that contained powerful soul power and held it in her hand. Two beauties, why are you in such a hurry? Where do you want to go? Just as Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia wanted to quickly return to the bustling White Emperor City, a cold voice that sounded like a poisonous snake entered their ears. In the next moment, 4 men dressed in black with black cloth covering their faces and holding 4 silver swords appeared in front of them. The powerful aura released by the 4 men made Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia feel a strong sense of oppression. Who are you? What do you want? Seeing the murderous eyes of the 4 men, Bai Xia's expression changed slightly. She forced herself to be calm and shouted loudly. Don't worry. As long as you cooperate and follow us obediently, we won't hurt you. The leader of the men in black said without a trace of emotion. You are from the Jiang family? Ji Qingxue asked with a serious expression. From the aura released by the 4 men, they were at least Class 6 spiritual beasts. Only the Jiang family in the entire Zijin kingdom would dare to kidnap them and send such experts to do so. You talk too much nonsense. If you don't listen obediently, we will have to use force. Don't blame me for not warning you when you get hurt. The leader of the men in black said coldly. With a sharp sword in his hand, he approached Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia step by step. Xia, let's rush out. Ji Qingxue knew what kind of danger they would encounter if they were captured. Without hesitation, she released her soul power and condensed her spiritual beast, Ice Bird, and merged it into her body. Ji Qingxue condensed her Ice Bird, and Bai Xia, who was a Class 4 spiritual beast, also condensed her spiritual beast, White Snake, and merged it into her body to increase her strength. Charge! With Ji Qingxue's shout, the 2 of them rushed out like arrows, wanting to break out of the encirclement. Where do you think you are going? Shadow Sword. When the leader of the black-clothed men saw that the 2 girls were trying to escape, he immediately leaped into the air. The long sword in his hand shone with a green light, and a shadow sword chi slashed through the air towards the two girls, forcing them to dodge awkwardly and delaying their escape. Beast illusionist, this man is really a beast illusionist. Seeing the strength of the leader of the men in black, Ji Qingxue panicked. Even if her talent was amazing, she could not fight against a beast illusionist. After using his soul skill to stop Ji Qingxue and Bai Xiao, the four men in black immediately surrounded them and attacked them, wanting to kidnap them and leave by force. Seeing that Ji Qingxue and Bai Xiao were about to be captured, Ji Qingxue suddenly threw the black crystal hidden in her palm at the leader of the men in black at close range. A loud bang sound was heard, and the black crystal exploded. Then, a formidable power surged out like a tidal wave, and sent the four black-robed men flying. They didn't manage to dodge in time. 3 of them were 6th-grade spirit beasts, and died on the spot. Ji Qingxue and Bai Xiao were also affected by the impact of the explosion of the black crystal. They fell heavily and were seriously injured. At the critical moment, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xiao ignored their injuries and struggled to get up from the ground. Chapter 26. The night was quiet and the cold moonlight shone on the forest. The silver light illuminated the Baiyun mountain range in the darkness. Phew, I've finally succeeded. Yi Chunfeng spent another 5 hours and finally absorbed the last intense flame elixir. After absorbing 2 intense flame elixirs in succession, Yi Chunfeng's body underwent a qualitative change. The cells in his body split to the limit and large amounts of black impurities were expelled from his body. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng's muscles were filled with strength and his mouth was filled with a sweet taste. However, the qualitative change of the body was only the first step to completing body tempering. If Yi Chunfeng wanted to reach the second stage of 6 Meridians God Star Shield, he would need to replenish a large amount of blood and qi to fully stimulate the potential of his body. This was because his body was like a limitless lake. Only when the lake was filled to the brim with water would it be considered a success. Elixirs that could replenish blood and qi were extremely rare. Normally, they would only appear in the highest level auctions in the Zijin Kingdom. Moreover, they were extremely expensive. Even if Ji Qingxue gave Yi Chunfeng 700,000 taels of silver, it would still be very difficult for him to buy an elixir that could replenish blood and qi. The most important thing now is to enter the Sky Fire Martial House as soon as possible. Perhaps only there will I have a chance to obtain elixirs that can replenish blood and qi. Sensing his body's condition, Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. After successfully tempering his body, Yi Chunfeng sat cross-legged on the ground and rested for a while. After eating something, he took out 2 low-grade spirit crystals and circulated the spirit-devouring art at high speed, devouring soul power to cultivate. Just as the night was getting darker and Yi Chunfeng was completely immersed in cultivation, a sudden loud noise disturbed him. He opened his deep eyes and looked into the distance. Ji Qingxue, let's see where you can escape to. The black-clothed leader, who was covered in blood and whose chest was badly mangled, relied on his speed to finally intercept the 2 girls. Looking at the 2 girls who were still in shock, the heavily injured black-clothed leader's eyes emitted a terrifying light. The long sword in his hand was like a venomous snake, stabbing towards the 2 girls. Ice Bird attack. Although the leader in black was heavily injured, he was still a first-level beast illusionist. Ji Qingxue did not dare to attack him at close range. She could only summon her spiritual beast, Ice Bird, to deal with him. Shadow Split Sword. The ice bird flapped its snow-white wings, bringing with it a gust of cold wind. The black-clad leader, who had plenty of battle experience, did not dodge. He quickly thrust out the longsword in his hand. A streak of lightning-fast sword chi tore through the night sky, striking the ice bird at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. The sharp sword chi directly broke through the ice bird's soul defense, piercing through its body and dissipating in midair. Pooh! With the ice bird destroyed, Ji Qingxue immediately suffered a soul force backlash. A mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth and dyed the ground red. Her body became incomparably weak. White snake coil. Just as the black-robed leader unleashed his soul skill and severely injured the ice bird, Bai Xia controlled her white snake spirit beast to suddenly close in on him. The snake wriggled its 10-meter-long body, which was covered in scales, and wrapped around him. Then, it opened its bloody mouth and bit down on his head. Just as the white snake was about to bite the head of the leader in black and seriously injure him, a ferocious roar sounded in the dark forest. Spiritual beast Black Bear. The black-clad leader's soul power erupted, and his spiritual beast, Black Bear, appeared in his body. An earth-shattering burst of soul power burst out and forcibly tore apart the white snake that was wrapped around him. The white snake was torn apart, and Bai Xia also suffered a soul force backlash. A large amount of blood flowed out from her 7 orifices. Her body went limp and she collapsed to the ground. Since you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being impolite. Looking at the severely injured Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia, who had fallen to the ground, the black-clad leader's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. Holding the long sword in his hand, he approached them step by step. Don't mess around, I'll go with you. Ji Qingxue found a trace of lust in the black-clad leader's ice-cold eyes. She panicked and shouted loudly. It's too late to be afraid now. 3 of his companions were dead, and he was seriously injured. This completely enraged the black-clad leader. Looking at Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia's beautiful faces, he harbored evil intentions. If you dare to hurt us, neither the Ji family nor the Jiang family will let you go. Ji Qingxue pretended to be calm and warned. The Jiang family, thinking of Ji Qingxue's identity and thinking of his master, the black-clad leader calmed down a little. He cast a cold gaze at the equally beautiful Bai Xia. My father is the White Emperor City's lord. If you hurt me, my father will definitely kill you. Seeing the black-clad leader's gaze shift to her, Bai Xia suddenly felt like she was being stared at by a hungry wolf. All the hair on her body stood on end, and she warned nervously. So you're the White Emperor City's lord's daughter. I was wondering why you were born so beautiful. The heavens are really good to me. The black-clad leader revealed a crazy and lascivious smile. He released his soul force to bind Ji Qingxue's body. Bai Xia, whose body was weak and violently resisting, was placed on his shoulder, and walked to the smooth rock at the side. Bastard, put me down. You'll die a horrible death. The heavens will definitely not let you go. Being carried on the black-clad leader's shoulder, Bai Xia anxiously struggled violently. She kept waving her hands to hit the black-clad leader's body. However, her weak fists could not cause any harm to the black-clad leader. Shout. It's useless even if you shout until your throat breaks. No one can save you here, the black-clad leader said viciously as he threw Bai Xia onto the bone-piercing cold rock. Seeing that Bai Xia was in danger, Ji Qingxue, who was bound by soul force, panicked. However, her soul beast, Ice Bird, was severely injured, causing her body to become abnormally weak. She could not break free from the soul force binding her. You bastard, Ji Qingxue, swear that I will tear you to pieces in the future. Seeing Bai Xia fall step by step into the bottomless abyss, Ji Qingxue felt as if a knife was piercing her heart. She roared loudly. Don't worry, young Master Jiang will not give you this chance. When you fall into young Master Jiang's hands, I think your end will be even worse than hers, the black-clad leader said proudly. Jiang Shanxue, he also came to White Emperor City. Hearing this news, Ji Qingxue's eyes were filled with fear. She did not expect the Jiang family to be so crazy and take revenge so quickly. Bastard, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Bai Xia, whose face was covered in tears, shouted in despair. Her charming eyes revealed a look of determination. Under the moonlight, Bai Xia gave up resisting and prepared to bite her tongue to commit suicide. Just as the black-clad leader's ferocious face was getting closer and closer, and Bai Xiao was about to bite her tongue to commit suicide, her pupils suddenly dilated. Chapter 27. A pair of fists full of 2,500 kilograms of force pierced through the night and smashed into the back of the leader in black like a meteor. Wherever the fists went, the air exploded and the airflow surged. The powerful fists compressed the force to the extreme and exerted the attack power to the extreme. Bang! The leader in black was hit hard in the back. The fist force full of 2,500 kilograms of force directly shattered his spine and sent him flying. A large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. Lurk, close, attack. Yi Chunfeng, wearing a human skin mask, completed a perfect sneak attack by relying on the soul-devouring tactics ability to hide his aura and the cover of the night. Spiritual Beast Black Bear. The leader in black was scared after his body was severely injured. He immediately released his soul power and condensed his spiritual beast, the black bear, to take him out of the dark forest. "Do you think you can escape?" Yi Chunfeng sneered. With a muffled sound under his feet, his whole body flew out like an arrow and chased after the fleeing leader in black. Although the black bear was good at both offense and defense, speed was its disadvantage. In just a dozen breaths, Yi Chunfeng caught up with him with a harsh sound of friction. Ow! Feeling that Yi Chunfeng was getting closer and closer, the black bear raised its head and roared. It suddenly turned around and raised its body, waving its sharp bear claws at Yi Chunfeng, trying to smash him into meat paste. After completing the preliminary body tempering, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength reached 2,500 kilograms of force. As the cells in his body became active, the rolling force poured into his fist along the crisscrossing meridians in his body. The terrifying fist, with an unparalleled sense of oppression, hit the bear claw fiercely. The huge force shattered the black bear's claw and made it lose control of its body, throwing the leader in black on its back away. After the successful punch, Yi Chunfeng followed up with another attack. He punched out with both fists full of 2,500 kilograms of force. The terrible fist force squeezed and rubbed against the air in front of him, making a sound of metal exploding. It directly broke the soul defense of the black bear, smashed its body, and fell heavily to the ground, smashing a big hole in the hard ground. Art of Devouring Soul, Devour. Relying on his absolute strength to severely injure the black bear, Yi Chunfeng immediately activated the soul-devouring incantation, forming a terrifying devouring vortex in his palm. He pressed it into the black bear's body, which was roaring in pain, and directly devoured it. Pooh! After Yi Chunfeng swallowed the black bear, the seriously injured leader in black immediately suffered a backlash. His soul was torn apart, and a large amount of blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. "No, don't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, I can agree to any of your requests." Witnessing Yi Chunfeng devouring his spiritual beast Black Bear, the dying leader in black was scared and begged for mercy in a trembling voice. However, Yi Chunfeng was not an indecisive person. If he exposed the soul-devouring art, he would not allow the black-clothed leader to live in this world. With a crack, the black-clothed leader's neck was broken by Yi Chunfeng's foot. A large amount of blood sprayed out from the gap in his neck, dyeing the ground red. After killing the black-clothed leader, Yi Chunfeng checked his body. However, he did not find anything of value, so he revealed a trace of regret. He passed through the dense bushes and returned to the pitch-black forest to check on the 2 girls' injuries. Under the moonlight, the seriously injured Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia curled up together like 2 frightened kittens. "Okay, it's okay. I've killed that man. You're safe now." Yi Chunfeng didn't want to expose his secret too early, so he didn't take off the human skin mask and deliberately changed his voice. Thank you for saving us." Bai Xia was grateful from the bottom of her heart. If Yi Chunfeng hadn't appeared in time to save her, she might have been dead by now. Although Ji Qingxue didn't say anything, her eyes were full of gratitude. However, she was also secretly sizing up Yi Chenfeng. This was because she vaguely felt a trace of familiarity from the outline of Yi Chenfeng's body. She wasn't the only one who felt this way. When Bai Xia looked at Yi Chenfeng, she also vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. After hesitating for a moment, Ji Qingxue still voiced the doubts in her heart and asked, "Why did you save us? Have we met before?" "I just happened to pass by and saved you in passing. We don't know each other," Yi Chenfeng replied with a hoarse voice. "Okay, it's not good to stay here for long. Let's leave here first to avoid any more accidents," Yi Chenfeng suggested as he walked to Ji Qingxue's side. Relying on his absolute power, he tore apart the soul threads binding Ji Qingxue's body. "Okay." Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia nodded and stood up while supporting each other. They followed behind Yi Chenfeng and left the forest that was filled with the faint smell of blood. They came to the side of a slowly flowing stream that emitted a silver glow under the moonlight. "Go wash up by the stream. We'll spend the night here and go down the mountain tomorrow morning." Because the two women's soul injuries were too serious and the forest was too dangerous at night, Yi Chenfeng didn't dare to take them on a long journey to avoid aggravating their soul injuries. Okay. Now that the crisis was over, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia couldn't wait to wash off the bloodstains on their bodies. With the help of the bright moonlight, they slowly walked to the stream. Splash, splash, the stream water reached the two women's white calves. The two women gently bent down and continuously cupped their hands to wash their faces. Looking at the two beautiful figures in the stream that could arouse the interest of any man, Yi Chenfeng couldn't help but gulp. At this moment, he had to admit that Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia were indeed too charming. Huff! Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and shifted his gaze away from the two girls. He sat cross-legged beside the stream and closed his eyes to regulate his breathing. He refined the black bear's soul power that he had devoured and fused it into the soul blood egg. Early in the morning, a red cloud shrouded the sun slowly rose, illuminating all things in the world. After healing for most of the night, the two women's soul injuries had basically stabilized. However, their soul injuries were too serious and it would take them at least several days to fully recover. Just as the two women were about to wake Yi Chenfeng up and go down the mountain, suddenly, a powerful soul power fluctuation came from Yi Chenfeng's body, causing dense water ripples to appear in the air around him. This aura, could it be that he's about to break through? Sensing the changes in Yi Chenfeng's soul power, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia obediently stayed by his side and waited patiently. Chapter 28. A 5th-grade spiritual beast. Could it be that he was only a 4th-grade spiritual beast when he killed that beast illusionist last night? Because Yi Chenfeng cultivated the soul-devouring art, it was very difficult for ordinary people to detect his true cultivation level. However, the moment Yi Chenfeng broke through, Ji Qingxue and the other woman accurately sensed his true strength. Knowing that Yi Chenfeng was only a 5th-grade spiritual beast after breaking through, Ji Qingxue and the other woman revealed a look of disbelief. They were shocked by his terrifying combat strength. This person must be hiding a big secret. Sensing Yi Chenfeng's extraordinariness, Ji Qingxue blinked her beautiful big eyes and developed a strong curiosity about him. "It's daybreak. Let's go down the mountain." Yi Chenfeng exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and woke up from his cultivation. When he opened his deep eyes, rays of sharpness were released. Such bright eyes! Catching the radiance in Yi Chenfeng's eyes, Ji Qingxue's heart failed to live up to her expectations. She felt that Yi Chenfeng had a unique temperament that attracted her like a poison. After about 3 hours, Yi Chenfeng and the other two left the Baiyun mountain range and arrived at the bustling White Emperor city. "Alright, it should be safe here. Let's part here," Yi Chenfeng said as he looked at the majestic city gate of White Emperor City from afar. "You wait." Seeing Yi Chenfeng leave, Ji Qingxue bit her moist lips and suddenly called out to him. "What's the matter?" Yi Chenfeng glanced at Ji Qingxue, who wanted to say something but hesitated, and asked softly. What's your name? Where can I find you? Find me? Why are you looking for me? Don't misunderstand. I just want to repay you for saving my life. Ji Qingxue had never taken the initiative to ask about a man's situation. Looking at Yi Qinfeng's puzzled eyes, two intoxicating blushes appeared on her delicate face. Her heart was beating wildly as she explained coquettishly. There's no need. I never thought of repaying you for saving my life. Goodbye. With that, Yi Qinfeng did not linger. Under Ji Qingxue's disappointed gaze, he turned around and left. Qingxue, don't you think he looks like someone? Looking at Yi Qinfeng's departing back, Bai Xia suddenly felt that his back was very similar to Yi Qinfeng's. Like who? Qingfeng. Qingfeng. Ji Qingxue said with a smile. Xia, you don't think he's Yi Qinfeng in disguise, do you? Besides, he doesn't have a spiritual beast. Even if he does, he doesn't have the ability to kill a beast illusionist. Don't let your imagination run wild. Thinking of the timid and stingy Yi Qinfeng, Ji Qingxue refused to believe that the first man to move her heart would be the Yi Qinfeng that she despised from the bottom of her heart. What? He Lang and the other two died by the White Lake? We've lost contact with He Sha. In an elegant courtyard house in the eastern part of White Emperor City, a young man in a black robe, with a slightly pale face, a hooked nose and deeply sunken eyes, roared with an ugly expression. Trash, a bunch of trash. You can't even kidnap a person properly. Continue to contact He Sha. Once you get in touch with him, immediately tell him to come see me. Also, continue to investigate Yi Qinfeng's whereabouts. Inform me immediately if you have any news. This furious young man was none other than the second young master of the Jiang family, Jiang Shanxue, who had brought experts to White Emperor City to take revenge on Yi Qinfeng and Bai Xia. All this time, Jiang Shanxue's life had been smooth sailing, and no one dared to go against his wishes. But he had never imagined that Ji Qingxue would not only refuse his marriage proposal, but also slap him in the face in the most direct and violent way. This made him deeply experience the feeling of humiliation. Every time he thought of Ji Qingxue privately pledging to marry a piece of trash and living together, Jiang Shanxue would be so angry that he wanted to kill someone. Yi Qinfeng, Ji Qingxue, this daddy will definitely let you know what regret is. This daddy will make that trash Yi Qinfeng open his eyes wide, and watch how I ravage a slut like you in bed. Jiang Shanxue revealed a sinister expression, his eyes filled with an ominous glint. After separating from Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia, Yi Qinfeng lingered outside White Emperor City for a while before returning to his original appearance and quietly returning to the small courtyard he had rented. Not long after Yi Qinfeng returned, Ji Qingxue also returned. Besides Bai Xia's grandfather, the #1 expert of White Emperor City, Level 5 beast illusionist Bai Xishan, had also returned with her. Sensing Yi Qinfeng's presence in the room, Ji Qingxue requested, "Grandpa Bai Xia, I want to speak with Qingfeng alone. Can you wait for me in the courtyard?" "Okay, we will wait for you outside." Bai Xishan, who was wearing a white robe and had a red face and a vigorous aura, nodded and said. Ji Qingxue stood outside the room, lightly knocked on the door, and asked in a flat voice, "Qingfeng, I have some matters to discuss with you. Can I come in?" "The door is not locked. Come in," Yi Qinfeng replied softly. Pushing open the door and walking in, Ji Qingxue glanced at Yi Qinfeng, who was sitting on the edge of the bed and looking at her. Her eyes revealed a trace of disgust as she said, "Jiang Shanxue is here. Last night, Xia and I encountered danger." Ji Qingxue briefly told Yi Qinfeng what happened last night. "Are you going to leave?" Yi Qinfeng asked when he heard the hidden meaning in Xiao Chen's words. Ji Qingxue nodded and said, "Yes, White Emperor City is too dangerous right now. For safety reasons, I have already contacted Grandfather. I estimate that the experts he sent will arrive at White Emperor City tonight. This is the 700,000 taels of silver that I owe you. Take it and leave White Emperor City as soon as possible. Find a place to conceal your identity to avoid losing your life. Also, from now on, we have nothing to do with each other. You are not allowed to announce to others that you are my fiancé. Ji Qingxue took out the 700,000 taels of silver that she borrowed from the Bai clan and handed it to Yi Chunfeng as she solemnly instructed him. Don't worry, I will not speak carelessly, and I will not seek connections with your Ji clan. After Yi Chunfeng received the 700,000 taels of silver, he revealed a trace of sarcasm and said, As for whether I leave or not, it is none of your business. Yi Chunfeng, did you hear me? If you don't leave now with Jiang Shanshui's character, he will not let you go. Ji Qingxue saw that Yi Chunfeng did not intend to leave and immediately became anxious. Thank you for your concern, but I believe that Jiang Shanshui cannot kill me. Although Yi Chunfeng guessed that Jiang Shanshui still had beast illusionist experts by his side, he had broken through to the 5th-level spiritual beast realm and completed the preliminary body tempering. With the golden needle talisman, he was not afraid. Yi Chunfeng, are you crazy? Are you not afraid of death? All right, Ji Qingxue, now that we have nothing to do with each other, you don't need to worry about my life or death. Yi Chunfeng said coldly, It is getting late, you should leave. Don't waste your time on me. All right. Yi Chunfeng, I hope you don't regret your decision today. Chapter 29. Qingxue, what's wrong with you? Bai Xiao, who was waiting outside, saw Ji Qingxue walk out angrily. She immediately went up and asked softly, Nothing, let's go. Ji Qingxue shook her head and pulled Bai Xiao away without any reluctance. They left the small courtyard that made her feel disgusted and disgusted. After Ji Qingxue and the other two left, Yi Chunfeng was not affected in the slightest. He cleared his mind of distracting thoughts and operated the soul-devouring art to swallow the low-grade soul crystal and continue to cultivate, consolidating his realm as a rank 5 spirit beast. As night fell, the soft light enveloped the entire White Emperor City, giving people a hazy feeling. Young Master Jiang, this courtyard is Yi Chunfeng's residence. According to the news sent back by our people, he is now in this courtyard. A middle-aged man in a gray robe, with slightly white hair and a thin bamboo sword in his hand, pointed at Yi Chunfeng's courtyard and said with a hoarse voice, Damn, that bitch Ji Qingxue would rather live in this broken place with that trash Yi Chunfeng than agree to my marriage proposal. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's small courtyard through the dim light, Jiang Shanshui's self-esteem suffered another blow. Waves of anger burned in his heart, and he directly rushed in with his people. Yi Chunfeng, you bastard, get out here! Jiang Shanshui's face revealed a sinister expression as he ordered arrogantly. Jiang Shanshui, are you sick? Why are you yelling at me? I don't think I have provoked you. Yi Chunfeng, who was wearing a gray robe, walked out of the house and looked at the murderous Jiang Shanshui and the others, saying fearlessly, Damn, you still dare to be stubborn when death is at hand. Do you really think you are still a genius of the Yi family and have the protection of the Yi family? Hearing Yi Chunfeng's counterattack, Jiang Shanshui's face became extremely gloomy. The anger in his eyes was not concealed in the slightest. He ordered loudly, You two, go and break that bastard's legs. Make him kneel and talk to me. Yes, young Master Jiang. Two middle-aged men in black robes, who had reached the 6th-level spirit beast realm, respectfully obeyed the order. With a strong sense of oppression, they walked toward Yi Chunfeng step by step. Just as the two of them approached Yi Chunfeng and were about to attack, Yi Chunfeng, who was as straight as a spear, moved first. An oppressive force that suffocated the two of them erupted from Yi Chunfeng's body. It was like a ferocious flood, shattering the pressure they released and heavily bombarding their bodies, causing them to feel suffocated for a short period of time. Then, Yi Chunfeng suddenly took a step forward. His whole body emitted a ringing sound, and his strength intertwined. Then, he punched both of his fists, and bombarded the chests of the two 6th-grade spirit beasts. Not good. Feeling the horror of Yi Chenfeng's 2 punches, the 2 6th-grade spirit beasts' faces changed greatly. Without thinking, they immediately released their soul power and condensed their spiritual beasts to resist. Their reaction could be said to be extremely fast, but Yi Chenfeng's attack speed was even faster. With 2 bang, bang, the 2 of them received heavy blows on their chests. His fists, which were filled with the force of 2,500 kilograms, smashed their sternum and severely injured their spiritual beasts that had fused into their bodies. They were sent flying more than 10 meters away, fell heavily on the ground, and fainted. What? Jiang Shanshui looked at the scene in front of him, dumbfounded. The look in his eyes was as if he had seen a ghost. How can he be so powerful? In Jiang Shanshui's opinion, pinching Yi Chenfeng to death was as easy as pinching an ant to death. However, the fact gave him a heavy blow, making him feel like he was in a dream. Your Excellency has good means. You actually deceived us. The middle-aged man, who was holding a thin bamboo pole and a long sword, said in a hoarse voice. His eyes shot out rays of light as he stood in front of Jiang Shanshui. Mr. Wu, cripple him for me. Thinking of Mr. Wu's strength as a rank 2 beast illusionist, Jiang Shanshui's uneasy heart calmed down a little. Leave it to me. Mr. Wu nodded. The soul power in his mind burst forth, and a large snake covered in scales appeared in his mind. It circled above his head and hissed at Yi Chenfeng. Yi Chenfeng, I don't care what kind of fortuitous encounter you had, but you are dead meat today. When I capture you later, I will use a knife to cut off your flesh and let you slowly die in pain. Jiang Shanshui looked at Yi Chenfeng ferociously, wanting to cut him into pieces. Stop! Just as Mr. Wu was about to fuse with his spiritual beast and make a move, an angry roar sounded under the dark night sky. Bai Xia suddenly appeared, accompanied by a Bai family expert. And what a beautiful girl! I didn't expect Bai Desheng to have such a stunning beauty. Jiang Shanshui looked at Bai Xia, who was wearing a white floral dress. Her figure was exquisite, and her skin was as smooth as jade. His eyes immediately lit up. Bai Xia, why is she here? Yi Chenfeng didn't expect Bai Xia to bring a Bai family expert so late at night. He was slightly surprised. Bai Xia's appearance disrupted Yi Chenfeng's plan. Originally, even if he was no match for her, he could easily escape with his powerful physical strength. But now, he couldn't do that. Once Bai Xia was captured, with Jiang Shanshui's means, her life would be ruined. Qingfeng, are you okay? Bai Xia walked quickly to Yi Chenfeng's side and asked with concern. I'm fine, but this place is too dangerous. You'd better leave quickly, Yi Chenfeng persuaded softly. If we leave together. Bai Xia looked at Yi Chenfeng's chiseled face and said stubbornly. Yi Chenfeng, I didn't expect a trash like you to have such good luck with women. Even I am a little envious of you. Jiang Shanshui looked at the slender and elegant Bai Xia as if she was his prey and said coldly, But today, none of you can leave. Miss, you leave first. I will take care of the rear. The Bai family expert felt a strong sense of danger from Mr. Wu and the blue-robed man beside Jiang Shanshui. He held a long spear and stood in front of Yi Chenfeng and Bai Xia, urging loudly. As soon as the Bai family expert finished speaking, Mr. Wu and the blue-robed man beside Jiang Shanshui attacked at the same time. 2 level 2 beast illusionists. Sensing the strength of the two, Yi Chenfeng also felt a little pressure. With his current strength, he could fight a level 1 beast illusionist alone, but he was definitely not a match for a level 2 beast illusionist. However, at that very moment there was no time for him to retreat. A thunderous sound came from under Yi Chenfeng's feet. Like a cheetah, Yi Chenfeng rushed out towards the blue-robed man, who wore a pair of scarlet gloves. Roar! A white rhinoceros loomed in his body. When he merged with his spiritual beast, the rhinoceros, his strength increased steadily. With a loud bang, Yi Chenfeng's and the blue-robed man's soul power fists collided. Powerful physical strength and soul power erupted at the same time, shaking the surrounding air to the point of exploding. Dang dang dang! Facing the blue-robed man's attack head-on, Yi Chunfeng's body trembled and his whole body retreated uncontrollably. A stream of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. After injuring Yi Chunfeng with one punch, the blue-robed man suppressed the rolling blood in his body and quickly closed in on Yi Chunfeng to continue to launch a fatal attack. He wanted to injure him in one go and end the battle. Chapter 30. It's over. The blue-robed man clenched his fist, and a terrifying soul power suddenly erupted, swinging away Yi Chunfeng's fist and smashing into his body, sending him flying like a kite with a broken string. He fell on the earth wall in the distance and smashed it down. Qingfeng. When Bai Xia saw that Yi Chunfeng was injured, she immediately released her soul power without thinking and condensed her spiritual beast, the white snake, to rescue him. Little beauty, why are you so excited? You'd better play with me. The moment Bai Xia fused with her spiritual beast, Jiang Shanshui appeared beside her in a flash, condensed his spiritual beast, the black spider, and pounced on her. Bai Xia was not a match for Jiang Shanshui, who was a 5th-level spirit beast. In addition, she was seriously injured, so she could not resist the attack of Jiang Shanshui's spiritual beast, the black spider. After about 3 breaths, Bai Xia was entangled by the white spider silk spat out by the black spider and could not move. Miss! When the Bai family's master saw that Bai Xia was in danger, he was shocked and wanted to abandon Mr. Wu and come to her rescue. However, Mr. Wu was still stronger than him. As Mr. Wu waved the thin bamboo sword in his hand, 3 beams of sharp sword energy shot out and sealed off his escape route. Little beauty, are you interested in that trash? Do you want me to invite you to watch a show? Watch me cut off his limbs, his flesh, and let him slowly die in pain. Looking at Bai Xia, who was firmly bound by the spider silk and had a curvaceous figure, Jiang Shanshui's eyes immediately burned with passion and said crazily, "No, no, please don't hurt Qingfeng." Bai Xia's heart trembled, and she begged for mercy with a pale face. Beg me? You beg me for that trash? Interesting, really interesting. Looking at Bai Xia's pleading eyes, the smile on Jiang Shanshui's face became wider, and he ordered loudly, "Mr. Su, bring that trash to me." "Yes, young Master Jiang." The blue-robed man revealed a sinister smile. He arrived in front of Yi Chunfeng, who was covered in blood and was pressed down by the yellow soil. Seeing Yi Chunfeng lying on the ground with a weak aura, the blue-robed man revealed a sinister smile. In his opinion, after suffering such a heavy blow, Yi Chunfeng was probably on his last breath. Just as he extended his hand to pull Yi Chunfeng up from the pile of dirt, Yi Chunfeng's originally dim eyes suddenly became sharp, like an unsheathed sword, stabbing into the blue-robed man's eyes, causing him to momentarily lose focus. Although it was only for an instant, it was enough for Yi Chunfeng to launch a fatal attack on him. Yi Chunfeng's fist was imbued with an invincible energy. He punched towards the blue-robed man's head at an extremely fast speed. In order to kill the blue-robed man in one fell swoop, Yi Chunfeng compressed his strength to the extreme. Wherever his fist went, the air exploded, directly breaking through the blue-robed man's soul force defense and heavily smashing into his head. Crack! With a sound, the blue-robed man's head suffered a heavy blow. A large number of cracks appeared on his head, and a large amount of blood spurted out uncontrollably. How could this be? Looking at the scene in front of him that was completely different from what he had imagined, the smile on Jiang Shanshui's face instantly froze. His eyes looked as if he had seen a ghost. The soul force defense of a rank 2 beast illusionist was beyond imagination. Yi Chunfeng originally thought that his punch, which was filled with 2,500 kilograms of force, would be able to smash his head, but the soul force in his head reduced most of it. Blood egg fuse. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath. Ignoring the injuries on his body, he used the power of the spiritual beast's blood egg for the first time. He fused it into his body and amplified his attack power. Soul force, how could that trash have soul force? Didn't he not have a spiritual beast? Jiang Shanshui couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. He was completely stunned. Die. After fusing with the blood egg, Yi Chenfeng's strength increased steadily. Endless blood light gathered in his palm, increasing his attack power by nearly 50%. The sudden increase in attack power greatly exceeded Yi Chenfeng's expectations. It was enough to show that the blood egg was extraordinary. Bang! The blue-robed man's head suffered another heavy blow. This time, Yi Chenfeng's fist, which was infused with soul force, directly smashed his head. A large amount of blood splattered on the ground. Heavenly Profound Needle suppressed the injuries. Yi Chenfeng took advantage of the blue-robed man's carelessness. After killing him, he immediately took out dozens of silver needles and pierced them into his own acupuncture points, forcibly suppressing the injuries on his body. Soul force, silver needles. Looking at the silver needles flying in the air and piercing into Yi Chenfeng's body, Bai Xia revealed a look of surprise. It's him, it's really him. Tringfeng is really Master Chen. How could this be? How could that trash be so powerful? He actually has the strength to kill Mr. Su. Seeing the blue-robed man's corpse fall heavily on the ground, Jiang Shanshui was shocked from the deepest part of his soul. He opened his mouth but didn't say a word for a long time. And Mr. Wu was distracted because of this. Seizing this opportunity, the Bai family's expert immediately used his soul skill. A long snake-like spear light flew out and pierced towards Mr. Wu's chest. Shadow Sword. Mr. Wu, who couldn't dodge the soul skill attack of the Bai family's expert, immediately reacted and used his soul skill to counterattack. Puff puff. Two sounds, the two of them were attacked by each other's soul skills at the same time. Their spiritual beasts, which were defending with all their might, were severely injured. Don't come over. If you dare to come over, I'll kill her immediately. Seeing Yi Chenfeng quickly approaching him, Jiang Shanshui, who came back to his senses, immediately pulled Bai Xia, who was entangled in spider silk and couldn't move, in front of him and threatened loudly. I know you won't, because you know very well the consequences of hurting her. Yi Chenfeng said with a murderous intent. You're right, I won't kill her, but I dare to scratch her face. Jiang Shanshui deliberately stroked Bai Xia's smooth and delicate face and threatened coldly, Don't you think it'll be a pity if I scratch such a beautiful face? Let her go and I'll let you go, Yi Chenfeng said with an ugly expression. For Bai Xia, he made a concession. I can let her go, but it depends on whether you're obedient. Jiang Shanshui looked at Yi Chenfeng's gloomy face and said with a cold smile, What do you want? Yi Chenfeng's eyes flickered with sharpness as he asked in a low voice. Break your own meridians and surrender obediently. Jiang Shanshui ordered loudly. No, Tringfeng, don't listen to him. Even if you break your own meridians, he won't let us go. Hearing Jiang Shanshui's order, Bai Xia, whose beautiful face turned pale, shouted loudly. Damn it, if you talk nonsense again, I'll scratch your face. Jiang Shanshui firmly held Bai Xia's neck and warned fiercely. Looking at Bai Xia's pained face, Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and said in a serious tone, Fine, you win. I can agree to break my own meridians, but you have to promise me that after you break your own meridians, you can't hurt her. Otherwise, we'll fight to the death. Fine, I promise you. As long as you break your own meridians, I won't hurt her. Jiang Shanshui showed a complacent smile and agreed. I hope you can keep your promise. Otherwise, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Yi Chenfeng said with clenched fist. Chapter 31. Qingfeng, looking at the blood-soaked Yi Chenfeng, Bai Xia felt like her heart was being cut by a knife. Tears flowed uncontrollably as she cried out in pain. Haha, Yi Chenfeng, I find that you are so silly that you are cute. Do you really think that I will let you go if you break your own meridians? Jiang Shanshui laughed wantonly. He held the tearful Bai Xia hostage and came to his side. Jiang Shanshui, if you are willing to let Qingfeng go, I am willing to agree to any of your requests, Bai Xia said while sobbing in pain. Little beauty, what right do you have to bargain with me? Jiang Shanshui revealed a playful smile and said, after I torture him to death, I will love you well. I really can't wait to press you under me. As he spoke, Jiang Shanshui, who was beside himself with joy, took out a sharp dagger from his chest. He looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was lying in a pool of blood, and said mockingly, let me see if your meridians are completely broken. If they are not, I will help you well. No, seeing that Yi Chunfeng was about to be killed, Bai Xia panicked and screamed in pain. However, the spider silk that bound her contained powerful soul power. All her efforts were in vain. No, you didn't break your own meridians. How dare you lie to me? When Jiang Shanshui checked the condition of Yi Chunfeng's body, he found that he had only exploded his flesh and did not break his meridians. He was furious. However, at this moment, a terrifying killing intent suddenly erupted from Yi Chunfeng. He was like a wolf that had been lying in wait for a long time. He bared his fangs and was filled with killing intent. The next moment, a golden light flashed in front of Jiang Shanshui. Before he could react, the golden light pierced his arm that was holding Bai Xia hostage and twisted his arm into pieces on the spot. After using the only golden needle talisman to severely injure Jiang Shanshui, Yi Chunfeng bounced up from the ground and threw out a powerful punch. It landed on Jiang Shanshui's chest at close range. With a cracking sound, Jiang Shanshui's chest caved in and several of his ribs were shattered. His entire body flew more than 10 meters away before crashing heavily onto the ground. Covered in blood, Yi Chunfeng patted Bai Xia's head and said softly, it's all right now. Just stand there and don't move. I'll avenge you. Yi Chunfeng, you can't kill me. If you kill me, my Jiang family will never let you off. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's awe-inspiring gaze, the fear that Jiang Shanshui had painstakingly suppressed erupted like a volcano, occupying his face as he begged for mercy. Jiang Shanshui, you're so silly that you're cute. Do you think I'll let you go at a time like this? Yi Chunfeng revealed a mocking smile as he purposely borrowed Jiang Shanshui's words. Yi Chunfeng, don't you dare hurt young Master Jiang. Mr. Wu, who had fought with the Bai family's master until both sides were injured, saw that Yi Chunfeng was in danger. He struggled to stand up and rushed toward Yi Chunfeng with a long sword that was as thin as a bamboo pole in his hand. Shadow Sword. Mr. Wu gathered all the soul power in his body into his long sword. Streaks of Shadow Sword chi flew out and pierced toward Yi Chunfeng's body. However, Mr. Wu was too heavily injured, and the speed and power of his Shadow Sword soul skill were greatly reduced. Yi Chunfeng, who was prepared in advance, dodged them. After dodging the Shadow Sword soul skill, Yi Chunfeng approached Mr. Wu with a side step and launched a tidal wave of attacks at him. Black Spider Attack. Jiang Shanshui knew that if Mr. Wu wasn't a match for him, death would await him. He immediately summoned his spiritual beast, the Black Spider, and cooperated with Mr. Wu to counterattack Yi Chunfeng. Blood Egg Fuse. As the Black Spider attacked, Yi Chunfeng fused with the Blood Egg again to increase his attack power. Waves of blood-colored soul power gathered in his palms. Yi Chunfeng punched out with both fists, bringing with it a sharp wind. The friction between the wind and the air produced a deep sonic boom. He punched the Black Spider that was close to him and exploded it. Following that, Yi Chunfeng quickly turned around and engaged in a fierce battle with the heavily injured Mr. Wu. Mr. Wu was already an arrow at the end of its flight, and Yi Chunfeng, who had fused with the healing light, became more and more courageous. Soon, Mr. Wu, who was getting more and more injured, couldn't resist Yi Chunfeng's fierce attacks. He was sent flying by a punch and fainted in a pool of blood. Jiang Shanshui, who was bleeding from his 7 orifices, was scared silly when he saw Mr. Wu lying in a pool of blood. His body seemed to have gone crazy, and he couldn't help but tremble. Yi Chunfeng, I was wrong. I really know that I was wrong. Please spare me. I won't dare to be your enemy anymore." In order to survive, Jiang Shanshui gave up his dignity and begged Yi Chenfeng bitterly, begging him to let him go. Slap. Yi Chenfeng was unmoved by Jiang Shanshui's pleas. He suddenly raised his right hand and a crisp slap rang out. Not only did the enormous force shatter Jiang Shanshui's jaw, it even sent him flying. "Yi Chenfeng, my grandfather knows that I came to White Emperor City. If something happens to me in White Emperor City, he will definitely investigate this matter. At that time, it will be difficult for you to escape death," Jiang Shanshui shouted. "Is that so?" Yi Chenfeng's lips curled up, revealing a cold smile that was difficult to detect. "Then let's have a good talk. If you can move me, perhaps I will change my mind and spare you." Good. As long as you are willing to let me go, I can agree to any of your requests." Seeing that there was a chance, the heavily injured Jiang Shanshui was so excited that he wanted to cry. "Qingfeng, you can't trust him. He is a despicable person," Bai Xia anxiously advised. "Don't worry. I know what I am doing." Yi Chenfeng revealed a gentle smile, untied her body, and said, "Wait for me here." After that, Yi Chenfeng took Jiang Shanshui and the unconscious Mr. Wu into the house. "Yi Chenfeng, what do you want to let me go? I can be your dog. I will bite whoever you want me to." Jiang Shanshui, whose soul was seriously injured and collapsed on the ground, begged for mercy very weakly. "Jiang Shanshui, do you really think I will let you go?" The reason why Yi Chenfeng didn't kill him instantly with the Golden Needle Talisman and wanted to talk to him alone was that he wanted to devour his and Mr. Wu's spiritual beast. Once a person died, his or her spiritual beast would also turn to ashes. Seeing the killing intent in Yi Chenfeng's eyes, Jiang Shanshui felt like he was being stared at by the Grim Reaper. Just as he was scared out of his wits, Yi Chenfeng suddenly made a move and pressed his right hand hard on his head. In the next moment, a powerful devouring force surged into his mind like a big devouring mouth, devouring his spiritual beast. However, Jiang Shanshui was at the same level as Yi Chenfeng. After devouring his spiritual beast, the black spider, Yi Chenfeng didn't produce much pure soul power in his body. After devouring Jiang Shanshui's spiritual beast, Yi Chenfeng immediately went to the unconscious Mr. Wu's side and used the soul-devouring tactic to devour his spiritual beast as well. Mr. Wu was a level 2 beast illusionist and his spiritual beast was extremely powerful. After devouring his spiritual beast, Yi Chenfeng immediately produced a large amount of pure soul power in his body and merged with the blood egg. Chapter 32. "Qingfeng, where's Jiang Shanshui? You're not really going to let him go, are you?" Seeing Yi Chenfeng walk out of the house covered in blood, Bai Xia immediately went up to him and asked worriedly. "Jiang Shanshui is already dead," Yi Chenfeng said in a low voice, looking at Bai Xia with a burning gaze. Although he wanted to minimize Jiang Shanshui's death, he couldn't bear to kill Bai Xia and the other person. Furthermore, he had performed outstandingly in the White Emperor Martial House's year-end assessment and obtained the qualification to enter the Sky Fire Martial House. This would definitely arouse the Jiang family's suspicion. Thinking about the threat of the Jiang family, the #1 family in the Zijin Kingdom, Yi Chenfeng felt that this was a thorny problem. However, once Yi Chenfeng became a disciple of the Sky Fire Martial House, even if the matter was exposed, the Jiang family wouldn't dare to directly take revenge on him. "Great, that scum is finally dead. Qingfeng, thank you. You've saved me once again." Bai Xia let out a long sigh of relief. She looked at Yi Chenfeng with a gentle gaze and said gratefully. After seeing Yi Chenfeng's powerful strength, Bai Xia was completely sure that the person she had been searching for and the person who had saved her and Ji Qingxue from the evil clutches last night was Yi Chenfeng. "Xia, although Jiang Shanshui deserved to die, if the Jiang family knew that he died in our hands, not only me, but even your Bai family will suffer the Jiang family's bloody revenge," Yi Chenfeng said seriously. Young Master Yi, don't worry. My Bai family will take care of everything. We will try our best to hide the fact that Jiang Shanshui died in White Emperor City. The heavily injured Bai family expert crawled up from the ground and promised. That's good. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said. He thought that the Bai family was indeed more afraid of the consequences of Jiang Shanshui's death. After all, with his strength, there was a high chance that he could escape the Jiang family expert's pursuit. However, the Bai family had no chance of escaping. Qingfeng, I want to talk to you in private. Is that okay? Bai Xia blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Chunfeng expectantly. Let me deal with this first, then we can talk outside. Yi Chunfeng guessed the purpose of Bai Xia looking for him, nodded and said. Young Master Yi, leave this to me. I'm good at destroying corpses and erasing evidence. I'll take care of everything here. You and young Miss can talk outside. The Bai family expert took a healing pill and stabilized his injuries. Well, Xia, wait for me for a while. I'll change my clothes and come out. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng returned to the house, wiped off the bloodstains on his body, changed into a bloody robe, and walked out of the house with Bai Xia. Because the house Yi Chunfeng rented was very remote and there were few people around, coupled with the darkness of the night, no one was alarmed by the fierce battle just now. Qingfeng, the Master Chen who saved my grandfather was you in disguise, right? Walking on the bumpy dirt road, Bai Xia kept looking at Yi Chunfeng out of the corner of her eyes. Looking at his chiseled side profile, which was like a black gem, and staring into his innocent eyes, Bai Xia's cheeks turned slightly red, and her heart skipped a beat. She took a deep breath, broke the silence, and asked. Yes, it's me. Yi Chunfeng nodded and didn't hide it anymore. Because at this time, some things could no longer be hidden. The person who saved me and Qingxue last night was also you, right? Bai Xia stopped and looked at Yi Chunfeng up close and asked. Yes, the person who saved you last night was also me. Since it was you, why didn't you admit it when I recognized you? Why did you disguise yourself when you saved us last night? Bai Xia asked the question in her heart. If Qingxue knew that the person who saved her last night was you, she would definitely change her opinion of you. Moreover, if you can heal her grandfather's old injury, I think the Ji family will definitely agree to your marriage. Do you really want to hear the truth? Yi Chunfeng pondered for a moment and asked. Yes, I want to hear it very much. Are you willing to tell me? Bai Xia nodded and said. Okay, I'll tell you, but you must promise me to keep it a secret and not reveal it to a third person. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and solemnly instructed. I swear, if I mention your secret to a third person, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Bai Xia swore in front of everyone. Actually, the main reason why I hid everything was because I was hiding it from Qingxue. The existence of the soul-devouring brain was too heaven-defying, so Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to reveal it easily. He could only push the reason to Qingxue. Hiding it from Qingxue? Isn't she your fiancée? Why did you hide it from her? Bai Xia asked in puzzlement, the curiosity in her heart growing stronger. Fiancé? Yi Chunfeng laughed self-deprecatingly and said, that was just an act for outsiders to see. The relationship between us originated from a deal. Yi Chunfeng briefly told the whole story to Bai Xia. How could this be? How could she be so willful and disregard your safety and use you as a shield? Doesn't she know the danger of this matter? When Bai Xia learned the truth, she immediately felt injustice for Yi Chunfeng. She also understood why Yi Chunfeng kept hiding his secret. It was because he would definitely be killed if he revealed his true strength. However, in addition to being angry, Bai Xia was also secretly delighted. Her gaze towards Yi Chunfeng became even gentler. All right, it's getting late. Let's go back. Although Yi Chunfeng could feel Bai Xia's affection for him from her eyes, he had vowed to pursue the boundless Tao and cultivate supreme divine abilities. He could only put aside his personal feelings for her. Qingfeng, it's best if you don't stay in that place of yours. If you don't mind, you can stay in my house. There are many places you can stay in my house. Bai Xia invited. Thank you, but I will be going to the White Cloud mountain range to cultivate and prepare for the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination in a month. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and tactfully refused Bai Xia. All right then. If you need anything, you can look for me. I will fully support you, Bai Xia said with a little disappointment. All right. Yi Chunfeng nodded and agreed. When Yi Chunfeng and Bai Xia returned to the Earth Courtyard side by side, the Bai family's experts had basically taken care of everything. The bloodstains on the ground and walls were completely covered by the yellow soil. Jiang Shanshui and the others' corpses were dug and buried by them. Once the thick scent of blood in the air completely dissipated, no one would be able to detect any clues in the courtyard. Looking at the scene in the courtyard, Yi Chunfeng was very satisfied. If it were him, he definitely wouldn't have been able to do so well. Eldest miss, it's getting late. Let's go back. We need to tell the city lord and elder Bai about what happened tonight as soon as possible. Only then can we cover up the truth and divert the Jiang family's anger. The Bai family's experts saw Yi Chunfeng and Bai Xia return and urged them. Qingfeng will go first. Take good care of yourself. If you need anything, come find me. Bai Xia reluctantly said and left with the Bai family's expert. Chapter 33. In the tranquil night, the moonlight shone brightly and the cold air assaulted everyone. Last night, I just broke through to become a rank 5 spirit beast. If I make another breakthrough today, it might cause my foundation to be unstable and affect my future cultivation. After devouring the soul beasts of Jiang Shanshui and Lu Yuanshan, Yi Chunfeng had accumulated enough soul power for him to break through to the rank 6 spirit beast realm. However, the cultivation experience in the God-Eater's mind told him that the foundation was very important. If the foundation was unstable at the beginning, the higher the cultivation level, the harder it would be and it would affect his combat strength. He had to completely consolidate his rank 5 spirit beast realm and lay down a solid foundation. Only when his body was filled with soul power would it be the best time to break through to the rank 6 spirit beast realm. And the best way to temper one's foundation was to fight. Only by constantly fighting could one lay down a solid foundation. Although the White Emperor Martial House had specialized training rooms that could be rented as long as one paid enough money, Yi Chunfeng chose to temper himself in the White Cloud mountain range. A cool breeze blew. Yi Chunfeng was like a lurking cheetah as he hid in a lush thicket. With the help of the bright moonlight, he looked at a gloomy valley in the distance. In this valley, there were over 20 foxes of various sizes. Foxes could be said to be the overlords of the White Cloud mountain range. They were as cunning as foxes and had fierce temperament. They liked to live in groups, and using foxes as training targets was extremely dangerous. Even if it was the black fur violent bear that had extraordinary strength and could tear apart a rank 1 beast illusionist expert, it would still be in danger if it was surrounded by foxes. However, Yi Chunfeng wanted to temper himself through death. Only when he felt the threat of death could he stimulate his body's potential and achieve the effect of tempering himself. Hoo-hoo! Yi Chunfeng adjusted his breathing as he approached the valley. He slowly approached a 3-meter-long foxes with fox ears and fangs that were tearing apart an elk. Bang! After locking onto his target, Yi Chunfeng exerted strength in his legs and stomped on the ground. With lightning speed, he launched an attack at the foxes. When the fox sensed danger and tried to dodge, Yi Chunfeng's fist hit its head. The sound of bones breaking rang out as the fox wolf's head was blown apart by Yi Chunfeng's punch. Its huge body was sent flying by gravity and smashed into the silent valley, alarming all the fox wolves in the valley. Aowo! For a moment, wolf howls filled the air. The ferocious foxes and wolves stared at Yi Chunfeng with blood-red eyes and launched a frenzied retaliatory attack. Come on! Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge when he saw the foxes baring their fangs and pouncing towards him. Instead, he bravely met them head-on. He charged into the pack of foxes and wolves and began to fight fiercely. Caught in the pack of foxes and wolves, Yi Chunfeng immediately fell into a passive position. The ferocious foxes and wolves tore at his body crazily, biting him until he was covered in wounds. Blood dripped down his clothes and onto the ground. It was a ghastly sight. As his injuries continued to worsen, Yi Chunfeng's physical potential was also stimulated bit by bit. He quickly integrated the power of the spiritual beast blood egg to stabilize his injuries. His fists continuously erupted with more than 2,500 kilograms of strength, smashing the foxes and wolves that were pouncing on him away. Early in the morning, the first rays of the morning sun shone through the clouds and onto the earth, awakening all things in the world. Aolo, as the last fox-wolf let out a painful howl, its huge body slammed heavily into the stone wall on the side, cracking it. It fell into a pool of blood and lay motionless. Huff, huff, I finally killed all 28 foxes and wolves. Looking at the corpses of the foxes and wolves, Yi Chunfeng, who was on the verge of collapse and covered in wounds, lay on the ground, panting heavily. He didn't want to move at all. After a night of killing, Yi Chunfeng felt that the soul power in his body had integrated into the blood egg. He could definitely break through to the realm of a Class 6 spiritual beast. However, Yi Chunfeng forcefully condensed his soul power and suppressed his realm. He was only waiting for the soul power contained in the blood egg to reach the limit before making a breakthrough. Life and death tempering is indeed the best way to improve one's strength. Feeling the change in his realm, Yi Chunfeng's pale face revealed a faint smile. He was determined to continue tempering himself. About an hour later, Yi Chunfeng, who had basically recovered his physical strength, left the valley that was filled with a strong smell of blood. He came to a small stream, washed his body, ate something, and continued to look for training targets. Just as he was tirelessly tempering himself in the Baiyun mountain range, the Jiang family in the imperial city was enraged because of the mysterious disappearance of Jiang Shanshui and the others. You still haven't found Shanshui and the others? In the Jiang family's old residence, the Jiang family's helmsman, Jiang Zhongxiong, who was wearing a dark golden robe and was emitting a strong baleful aura, smashed a square table with a palm strike as he questioned angrily. Reporting to Master, the experts we sent to White Emperor City have yet to find anything. However, according to our investigation, during the few days young Master Jiang went missing, the experts of the Ji family appeared in White Emperor City. Young Master Jiang's people seemed to have clashed with Ji Qingxue. A Bai-family expert wearing silver armor reported in fear. Ji family, how dare they? Jiang Zhongxiong ordered with a gloomy face. Continue the investigation. If we find out that Shanshui's disappearance is related to the Ji family, I will make them pay a painful price. At the same time, the Ji family also received the news of Jiang Shanshui's disappearance. Qingxue, tell me honestly, who was the person who saved you? Was he the one who caused Jiang Shanshui's disappearance? Ji Qingxue's grandfather, Ji Yanjing, felt the seriousness of the situation and asked solemnly. Once the Jiang family suspected that the Ji family had something to do with Jiang Shanshui's disappearance, the two families would likely fight to the death. This was something Ji Yanjing did not want to see. Grandfather, I have already said that I don't know him. However, Jiang Shanshui's death is definitely not related to him. He is only a level 5 spiritual beast tamer. It is impossible for him to kill Jiang Shanshui, Ji Qingxue said, hiding the fact that Yi Chunfeng's combat strength was far beyond his level. Sai, who did it? If we can't find the culprit, the Jiang family will most likely vent their anger on our Ji family. At that time, our Ji family will be in a very dangerous situation. Ji Yanjing sighed deeply, his voice filled with worry. Grandfather, is the Jiang family really so scary now? Ji Qingxue asked with a frown as she looked at Ji Yanjing's worried face. If it was a year ago, our Ji family's overall strength was not as good as the Jiang family's. However, in this year, my old injuries have been relapsing more frequently. My strength is not as good as before. Jiang Zhongxiong's eldest grandson, Jiang Yijuan, has been cultivating in the Sky Fire Martial House for 2 years. His strength has increased by leaps and bounds. A few days ago, he broke through to become a level 4 beast illusionist. More importantly, the Jiang family's first prince has completely overshadowed the second prince that our Ji family is attached to. This has caused the situation in the imperial court to change. If the Jiang family disregards everything and makes a move on our Ji family will most likely be isolated. Ji Yanjing told Ji Qingxue the severity of the situation. Grandfather, if the Jiang family insists on using this matter to deal with us, will we not be able to retaliate? After understanding the Jiang family's situation, Ji Qingxue felt the severity of the situation. Unless I can heal my old injuries in a short time and break through to a level 1 Earth Beast General, or the second prince regains his power, we will be able to intimidate the Jiang family. However, this is almost impossible. Ji Yanjing took a deep breath. His voice was filled with helplessness and worry. Grandfather, what if we can find that Master Qin who cured Grandfather by? Ji Qingxue asked as an idea flashed through her mind. If that Master Qin is really related to the sect, perhaps he can help our Ji family tide over this crisis. Chapter 34. Time flew by, and a month passed in the blink of an eye. 8,000 genes of strength erupt. Yi Chunfeng, whose entire body was covered in blood, suddenly took a step forward. The blood and flesh in his entire body resonated with each other, and his surging strength fused with the soul power released by the blood egg. Like a surging tide, it surged into his arms and heavily smashed into the chest of a 6-meter-tall, pitch-black, black-furred violent bear with blood-red eyes. With a cracking sound, the black-furred bear, which was known for its strength, was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's fists. Its furry chest completely caved in, and a large amount of blood and organs sprayed out from its mouth. One of the overlords of the White Cloud mountain range, the black-furred bear, was killed by Yi Chunfeng with a single punch. It lay motionless in a pool of its own blood. After killing the black-furred bear, Yi Chunfeng's spirit beast blood egg cracked open with a 5th crack. Surging soul force poured into his meridians like a flood. At this time, Yi Chunfeng couldn't suppress his cultivation even if he wanted to. After the blood egg's energy overflowed, he naturally broke through to the 6th rank spirit beast realm. Moreover, he didn't need to consolidate his cultivation for it to stabilize. Phew, it's time to return to White Emperor City and participate in the White Emperor Martial House's end-of-year examination. I wonder what the final outcome of Jiang Shanshui's death was. Did the Bai family betray me? Yi Chunfeng let out a breath of turbid air. He took a bath in the deep pool of the mountain, changed into a new set of clothes, and left the White Cloud mountain range, returning to White Emperor City. Because he was worried that the Bai family wouldn't be able to withstand the pressure and betray him, Yi Chunfeng disguised himself and put on a human skin mask. He inquired about some news in White Emperor City. When he learned that the Jiang family experts who had turned White Emperor City upside down a few days ago had already left and that White Emperor City had returned to peace, he let out a sigh of relief. After confirming that the Bai family hadn't betrayed him, Yi Chunfeng relaxed. He settled down in an inn and waited for the White Emperor Martial House's end-of-year examination to begin the next morning. Early in the morning, the first rays of the morning sun dyed the sky red. It was like a beautiful painting that made one feel relaxed and happy. After eating breakfast at the inn, Yi Chunfeng walked towards the White Emperor Martial House under the morning sun. Because today was the day of the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination, the White Emperor Martial House became very lively. Almost all of the Martial House's students who had gone out to experience the world had returned. Yo, am I seeing things? Isn't that Yi Chunfeng? I didn't expect you to really dare to come today. I thought you were too scared to show up after provoking young Master Lien. Yi Chunfeng had just arrived at the entrance of the White Emperor Martial House when a sarcastic voice entered his ears. Di Wanxian, who was dressed in gorgeous clothes and had a malicious smile on his face, appeared with 3 other White Emperor City profligate sons, blocking Yi Chunfeng's path. Di Wanxian, I realize that you are really a good dog by Lian Yulong's side. Being a dog like you can be considered a kind of realm. Hearing Di Wanxian's ridicule, Yi Chunfeng wasn't angry. This was because in front of him, Di Wanxian was nothing but a clown. Motherfucker, Yi Chunfeng, who are you calling a dog? Hearing Yi Chunfeng's ridicule, Di Wanxian flew into a rage and angrily questioned him. I called you a dog. What can you do to me? Yi Chunfeng looked at Di Wanxian, who was fuming with anger, and said without any trace of politeness. Di Wanxian was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. He didn't think that Yi Chunfeng would be so arrogant even when he was about to die. But when he thought about how incomparably strong Yi Chunfeng was, he knew that he wasn't a match for him. He could only grit his teeth and swallow his anger, not daring to attack. Scram! Don't be an eyesore in front of me. Yi Chunfeng coldly ordered Di Wanxian, who was blocking his path. And if I don't? Di Wanxian took a deep breath and said unyieldingly. Then I'll make you regret it. Yi Chunfeng sneered. He didn't hold back at all as he released the killing intent that had been accumulated through blood and bones. It smashed into the depths of Di Wanxian's heart, instantly destroying his psychological defenses. It made him feel as if he had fallen into hell. His legs trembled and he fell to the ground. Di Wanxian, you are too weak. Seeing the pale and ragged Di Wanxian, Yi Chunfeng couldn't be bothered to pay attention to him. He walked past him and entered the White Emperor Martial House. Yi Chunfeng, don't be complacent. Young Master Lian will definitely avenge me. Watching Yi Chunfeng's back, Di Wanxian, who had lost a lot of face, swore in his heart. After entering the White Emperor Martial House, Yi Chunfeng went directly to the Martial Arts Plaza where the examination was held. He was waiting for the examination to begin. The White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination was very simple. It was a martial arts competition. The results of the competition would determine one's ranking. Yi Chunfeng waited in the Martial Arts Plaza for about 10 minutes. Suddenly, he felt a cold aura lock onto him. He turned his head and coincidentally met the eyes of the White Emperor Martial House's #1 genius, Lian Yulong. Yi Chunfeng, today I will beat you into a dead dog in front of everyone so that you won't have the courage to stay in White Emperor City. Lian Yulong's eyes flickered with an ominous glint as he said this. I'll be waiting. Yi Chunfeng replied and turned his head away, no longer paying attention to Lian Yulong. Aside from Lian Yulong, there was another person in the crowd who was paying attention to Yi Chunfeng. It was Qiao Jingyuan, the person he had saved. She wanted to pass the examination and confirm if Yi Chunfeng was the person who had saved her that night. As the examination time approached, the stands were filled with people. The Bai family's mainstay, Bai Shishan, White Emperor City's lord, Bai Jiang Shui, and the exquisitely dressed and beautiful Bai Xia all appeared in the stands, paying attention to Yi Chunfeng's examination results. When Bai Xia saw the outstanding and elegant Yi Chunfeng in the crowd, her delicate face couldn't help but reveal a look of anticipation. She was looking forward to him displaying his invincible might and suppressing the crowd. All right, everyone quiet down. Today is the day of the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination. Because the Sky-Fire Martial House's quota is very limited, our White Emperor Martial House has only managed to obtain one quota. Therefore, this year, only the person who obtains first place will be qualified to enter the Sky-Fire Martial House for the final examination. The White Emperor Martial House's master, a white-haired old man, stood in the main stands and announced loudly, "There's only one quota. Then this quota will definitely belong to you, young Master Lian." Di Wanxian seemed to have changed into a different person, flattering him with a charming smile. That's for sure. With young Master Lian's strength, not to mention the White Emperor Martial House, even in the Sky Fire Martial House, you would be a genius second to none. The hedonistic young masters clustered around Lien Yulong flattered him, one after another. You can't say that. Those who can become a disciple of the Sky Fire Martial House are all geniuses among geniuses. However, give me some time. I am confident that I can create glory in the Sky Fire Martial House. Lien Yulong said arrogantly, his face full of pride. It was as if the quota for the Sky Fire Martial House's examination had already been decided by him. All right, the Sky Fire Martial House's year-end examination has begun. Everyone can go on stage to challenge. The White Emperor Martial House's master announced loudly. Chapter 35. As you wish. Yi Chunfeng didn't expect Lien Yulong to challenge him as soon as he came up. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, revealing a cold smile that was hard to detect. He leaped up and landed on the battle stage, facing Lien Yulong from afar. This child Yulong, why is he in such a hurry to go on stage? He doesn't even know how to give others a chance. Lien family patriarch Lien Wansong grumbled, but his face was filled with pride. With Yulong's strength, it doesn't matter if he goes on stage early or late. He is destined to be first in the White Emperor Martial House's year-end assessment. Patriarch Lien, let us congratulate you first. Many of White Emperor City's vassals opened their mouths to congratulate Lien Wansong, causing him to be overjoyed. Not far away, Bai Xia was very angry. Seeing his granddaughter's angry appearance, Bai Xishan gently patted her small white hand and said, "Watch the match carefully. Everything depends on strength. Yi Chunfeng, I won't bully you. Seeing that you don't have a weapon, I'll let you have 3 moves. In these 3 moves, I will only defend and not attack." Lien Yulong looked at the unarmed Yi Chunfeng and deliberately said magnanimously, "Good job, young Master Lien. Let this trash know the difference between us. Young Master Lien, beat this trash into a dead dog. Let him know how powerful we are." Hearing Lien Yulong's overbearing voice, Di Wanxian and the others raised their voices and cheered for Lien Yulong. Yi Chunfeng didn't care about the ridicule in his ears. He calmly looked at Lien Yulong and said, "I hope you can last through the 3rd move." "Haha, Yi Chunfeng, do you really think you have a chance just because I let you have 3 moves?" Lien Yulong revealed a disdainful smile and ridiculed, "I find that you are so naive that you are cute. Whether I am naive or not, we will know in a while." Yi Chunfeng's eyes revealed a sharp light as he said in a low voice, "This child Yulong has the demeanor of a great general. Amazing. Yes, Yulong is the #1 genius of White Emperor City. It won't be long before he can surpass the older generation." Just as everyone was thinking highly of Lien Yulong, an incongruous cheer suddenly sounded. "Chingfeng, do your best." Following the source of the voice, Yi Chunfeng saw the devastatingly beautiful Bai Xiao with light makeup sitting in the stands, cheering for him with a flushed face. Yi Chunfeng smiled at Bai Xiao, and the skin all over his body began to vibrate. A sound like muffled thunder came from under his feet. His whole body suddenly leaned forward and rushed towards Lien Yulong with a strong sense of oppression. How can this be? How can the pressure from his body be so terrifying? The cold smile on Lien Yulong's face instantly froze when he felt the oppressive power erupting from Yi Chunfeng's body. He couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng, who didn't have any soul power fluctuations, could erupt with such terrifying physical strength. He hurriedly merged with his soul beast, the iron-mouthed crocodile, to increase his own soul power. Bang! Yi Chunfeng's right fist, which contained a force of 5,000 kilograms, shattered the layers of air and hit the long spear in front of Lien Yulong's chest. Then, a terrifying vibration passed through the long spear and into Lien Yulong's arm. The vibration made his arm numb, and the web between his thumb and forefinger bled. He couldn't hold the long spear in his hand at all, causing the long spear to fall from his hand and heavily smash into his chest. 2 of his sternum were directly broken, and the aura in his body was violently tumbling. A mouthful of blood surged into his mouth, but he forced it back down. However, swallowing this mouthful of blood caused the blood in his body to be even more turbulent, aggravating his injuries. I didn't expect you to be able to block my punch. You're quite capable. Yi Chunfeng looked at the red-faced and disorderly Lien Yulong and smiled faintly. There are 2 more moves. Get ready. As soon as Yi Chunfeng finished speaking, Lien Yulong's expression turned extremely ugly. Never in his wildest dreams did he expect Yi Chunfeng to be so abnormal. With just a single punch, he was able to break through his defense, almost causing him to vomit blood. However, he had no way out now. If he couldn't block Yi Chunfeng's 3 moves, not only would he lose the qualification to enter the Sky Fire Martial House, he would also be too ashamed to stay in White Emperor City. That attack just now should be his limit. If I defend with all my strength, I should have a chance to block the remaining 2 moves. When it's my turn to attack, I'll be able to turn the tide. Lien Yulong constantly comforted himself and encouraged himself. At this moment, the entire martial arts arena was silent. The hedonistic sons who had been cheering for Lien Yulong were all speechless. They were shocked by the scene just now. Even Lien Yulong's father had lost his composure. The smile on his face froze, and a trace of worry appeared between his eyebrows. Pay attention to the second move. Yi Chunfeng sneered and poured all the strength in his body into his right fist like a surging tide. With one punch, the air exploded and the airflow surged. Yi Chunfeng had compressed the strength of this punch to the limit and blasted it toward Lien Yulong's chest. Iron Jaw Crocodile, resist with all your strength. Feeling the terror of Yi Chunfeng's punch, Lien Yulong immediately poured the strength of his spiritual beast, the Iron Jaw Crocodile, into his spear. Holding the spear with both hands, he used all his strength to resist Yi Chunfeng's second round of attack. Crack! An ear-piercing cracking sound rang out. The black spiral spear in Lien Yulong's hand couldn't withstand the strength of Yi Chunfeng's fist, and a crack appeared on the spear's body. His arms, which were holding the spear tightly, were split open. A large amount of blood flowed out uncontrollably and dripped onto the ground. It was a ghastly sight. Puff! This time, Lien Yulong could no longer suppress the surging qi and blood in his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood and lost control of his body. He retreated to the edge of the arena and almost lost the match. The arena was silent. Everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. Is this Yi Chunfeng a humanoid monster? He actually shattered the black spiral spear with one punch. This is too terrifying. This is the first time I've seen someone who has cultivated their physical strength to the limit and can erupt with such terrifying strength. No, it shouldn't be like this. Young Master Lien won't lose. He should beat Yi Chunfeng into a dead dog. Di Wanxian couldn't accept the reality in front of him. If Lien Yulong wasn't Yi Chunfeng's match, then revenge would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Lien Yulong, there's still one last move. Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up. He suddenly accelerated and launched his third round of attack at Lien Yulong. I can't lose. The qualification to enter the Sky Fire Martial House must be mine. After experiencing Yi Chunfeng's terrifying strength, Lien Yulong knew that he would lose without a doubt if he continued to defend. In an instant, several thoughts flashed through his mind. In the end, he broke his oath and launched a counterattack at Yi Chunfeng with his cracked spear. Yi Chunfeng, go to hell! Lien Yulong roared. A faintly discernible Iron Jaw Crocodile appeared behind him. When the Iron Jaw Crocodile fused with the black spiral spear, the spear's offensive power rose sharply. Despicable, this Lien Yulong is too despicable. He actually went back on his word and broke his oath in front of everyone. Does he not have any shame? Bai Xia stood up from her seat and angrily criticized. Di Wanxian and the rest below the arena were wild with joy. In their opinion, as long as Lien Yulong counterattacked, Yi Chunfeng would have no chance. Lien Yulong, I didn't misjudge you. You are a complete villain. Chapter 36. Soul Power. How can this Yi Qinfeng have soul power surging in his body? Didn't he not have a spiritual beast? Could it be that a spiritual beast can awaken a second time? Feeling that Yi Qinfeng's soul power was even more terrifying than Lian Yulong's and had reached the 6th rank spirit beast mastery, everyone, including Lian Wansong, was dumbfounded. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Break for me! With the fusion of soul power and physical strength, Yi Qinfeng's attack power was raised to the extreme. More than 8,000 jin of strength poured into his fist. With a punch, a terrible power erupted like a volcano and bombarded Lian Yulong's long spear. Buzz! The fist and the spear collided, sparks flew, and a strong repulsive force burst out. Lian Yulong only felt that his spear had stabbed into an unshakable mountain. The surging power penetrated the long spear and rushed into his body, shaking his body and spraying a large amount of blood uncontrollably. Gotcha! Just when Lian Yulong couldn't withstand the power of Yi Qinfeng's punch and was injured, Yi Qinfeng's body regenerated and broke his fist, smashing the long spear full of cracks, directly shattering the long spear that Lian Yulong had spent a lot of money to refine. What? How is this possible? Looking at the scene of the black spiral long spear shattering, Lian Yulong was scared out of his wits. He never thought that Yi Qinfeng's attack power would be so terrible that he could shatter his weapon with his bare hand. Just when he was about to open his mouth and admit defeat, Yi Qinfeng's fist shattered the long spear and hit his chest with an unstoppable force, shattering the soul power defense he had gathered in his chest and sent him flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood in midair and smashed to the ground, bouncing out of the martial arena and fainted. Silence, incomparable silence. Seeing Yi Qinfeng shatter the long spear with one punch and severely injure Lian Yulong, everyone present was stunned. They stared blankly at Yi Qinfeng, and only the sound of breathing could be heard in the entire martial arena. It's him. He was the one who saved me that night. Qiao Jingyuan covered her mouth with both hands. After witnessing Yi Qinfeng's strength, coupled with that vague feeling from that night, she was basically sure that the person who saved her that night was Yi Qinfeng. Spiritual beast. Yi Qinfeng actually awakened his spiritual beast a second time. How did he do it? In the crowd, the tall and slender Yi Xiling was also stunned by the scene in front of her. Yi Qinfeng's second awakening of his spiritual beast at the age of 15 had definitely broken the norm. If the Yi family knew about Yi Qinfeng's transformation, they would definitely regret their decision that day. Yulong! Coming back to his senses, Lian Wansong roared loudly. Like an angry lion, he rushed down the stands and carried the unconscious Lian Yulong, whose chest had caved in. Little bastard, you're so heartless. You actually dared to kill Yulong. I'll kill you. Lian Wansong checked Lian Yulong's injuries and found that his sternum was completely shattered and his meridians were severely damaged. Even with the help of elixirs, it would be very difficult for him to return to his peak state. Thinking that the Lian family's future hope had been destroyed by Yi Qinfeng, Lian Wansong was filled with killing intent. A powerful baleful aura emanated from his body and suppressed Yi Qinfeng. Patriarch Lian, this doesn't seem to be your Lian family, but White Emperor Academy. Also, it was your son who said that he would let me have 3 moves first. In order to win, I naturally had to do my best. Who would have thought that he would be so disappointing that he couldn't even withstand 3 moves? How disappointing! Yi Qinfeng stood in place like a steel spear, resisting the baleful aura released by Lian Wansong. Just now, it was indeed Lian Yulong who had taken the initiative to let Yi Qinfeng have 3 moves first. But who would have thought that Yi Qinfeng would be so powerful and heavily injure Lian Yulong in just 3 moves? Looking at his son's miserable state, Lian Wansong couldn't swallow this anger. If he let this matter go, he would lose all face and become the laughingstock of White Emperor City. More importantly, Yi Qinfeng's strength and talent made him feel threatened. In order to eliminate this potential threat, Lian Wansong was filled with killing intent toward Yi Qinfeng. A pitch-black scorpion appeared on his body and locked onto Yi Chenfeng. Lian Wansong, what are you doing? Do you still know who you are? Just when Lian Wansong was about to take action, a thunderous voice resounded in his ears. The strongest person in White Emperor City, the pillar of the Bai family, Bai Shishan, stood up and asked with a serious expression. Old Bai, are you going to protect this kid? Lian Wansong asked with an ugly expression. Chenfeng is this old man's savior. Since he is being bullied, this old man naturally has to stand up for him. Bai Shishan said in an overbearing manner, not giving Lian Wansong any face at all. Savior? How is that possible? Lian Wansong's eyes widened. He couldn't believe what he just heard. Who was Bai Shishan? He was the strongest person in White Emperor City, a rank 5 beast illusion master. He couldn't imagine how Yi Chenfeng managed to save him from the clutches of death. Patriarch Lian, I see that Yulong's injuries are very serious. The most important thing right now is to treat him as soon as possible. Feeling the tense atmosphere, White Emperor Palace Master smiled bitterly. He had no choice but to stand up and mediate. Okay. I'll leave. With Bai Shishan's support, Lian Wansong didn't dare to take action. He gritted his teeth and left with the unconscious Lian Yulong in his arms. After Lian Wansong and the others left, Di Wanxian, who was waiting for a good show, didn't dare to stay any longer and left with his tail between his legs. All right, let the competition continue. White Emperor Martial House Master looked at the departing figures of Lian Wansong and the others and announced loudly from the stands. However, after witnessing Yi Chenfeng's terrifying battle strength, none of the participating students dared to challenge him. Bai Shishan revealed a faint smile as he looked appreciatively at Yi Chenfeng. It seems that Yi Chenfeng will be able to take first place in the year-end assessment. With his talent and strength, he should be able to make a name for himself even in the Sky Fire Martial House. With Chenfeng's strength, he deserves first place. Bai Xia looked at Yi Chenfeng, who had his hands behind his back and his back straight as he bathed in the sunlight. Her eyes revealed a trace of infatuation. It wasn't just Bai Xia who revealed an infatuated look. Yi Xiling and Qiao Jingyuan's eyes also revealed a strange look. However, Qiao Jingyuan's eyes revealed more regret. She regretted distancing herself from Yi Chenfeng when he fell from the altar, causing their relationship to break apart. Chapter 37. Qingfeng, congratulations on obtaining first place in the White Emperor Martial House's year-end assessment. Now you will represent the White Emperor City in the Sky Flame Martial House's assessment. The White Emperor Martial House's master said cordially as he personally handed a token with a flame pattern engraved on it to Yi Chenfeng. Thank you, Martial House Master. Yi Chenfeng received the heavy token with both hands as he softly thanked the Martial House Master. Chenfeng, you've given us too much of a shock today. I never thought that a true dragon like you would be hidden in the White Emperor Martial House. Based on your performance today, becoming a student of the Sky Flame Martial House is a cinch. When you soar to the sky, don't forget about me, the Martial House Master. The White Emperor Martial House's master said with a smile. Although the White Emperor Martial House's master's status was extraordinary, Yi Chenfeng's performance today was worthy of him lowering his status and befriending him. I won't forget. Yi Chenfeng nodded. Yi Chenfeng had obtained first place in the White Emperor Martial House's assessment, so he didn't stay long in the Martial House. Just as he was about to leave, Qiao Jingyuan suddenly caught up with him from the crowd. She looked at him with a complicated gaze and said softly, Yi Chenfeng, I want to talk to you alone. Can you accompany me for a walk? I'm sorry, Jingyuan. I have something to do and may not be able to accompany you. Yi Chenfeng could guess why Qiao Jingyuan was looking for him, but he didn't want to have too much to do with her, so he tactfully declined. Yi Chenfeng, I know that you were the one who saved me that night. If you agree to be with me, My Qiao clan is willing to be your strongest backing and help you enter the Sky Fire Martial House to further your studies. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was about to leave, Qiao Jingyuan bit her lips and blocked his path as she promised. Jingyuan, you've got the wrong person, Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said. As for the Sky Flame Martial House, I'll rely on my own ability to enter. With that, Yi Chunfeng ignored the pale-faced Xiao Jingyuan and left without looking back. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's departing figure, Xiao Jingyuan bit her lips as 2 streams of tears uncontrollably flowed down her cheeks. She hated herself for being so short-sighted. If she hadn't chosen to distance herself from Yi Chunfeng when he was at his most isolated and helpless, perhaps today's outcome would have been different. Qingfeng, congratulations on obtaining the qualification to enter the Sky Flame Martial House. As Yi Chunfeng left the White Emperor Martial House under the awe-inspiring gazes of the crowd, a beautiful figure suddenly jumped in front of him and congratulated him with a smile. Xia, thank you and Grandpa Bai for your protection. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to obtain the qualifications to enter the Sky Flame Martial House so smoothly. Yi Chunfeng said softly as he looked at the tall and beautiful Bai Xia, who had 2 cute dimples on her cheeks when she smiled. Qingfeng, I's life was saved by you. If you're in trouble, I won't sit idly by. At this moment, Bai Xishan walked out of the White Emperor Martial House in high spirits, and said in a deep voice, Qingfeng, my grandfather and father would like to invite you to their house for a meal. Do you have time? Bai Xia invited in a pleasant voice. I do. This time, Yi Chunfeng didn't refuse and happily agreed. Crystal lamb chop, almond Buddha hand, imperial bean cake, phoenix tail shark fin. In order to get closer to Yi Chunfeng, the Bai family had prepared a sumptuous lunch. Plates of fragrant and delicious food were placed on the table, greatly increasing one's appetite. Qingfeng, I have a question. May I ask if your medical skills have anything to do with the illusory sect? Bai Xishan, who was in a good mood, took a sip of the mellow white wine and asked. No, I learned my medical skills from my master. However, I'm not sure if my master is from the sect or not. Yi Chunfeng had already thought of an excuse and made up a fabricated master. Master? Bai Xishan raised his eyebrows and said, Qingfeng, is your master in White Emperor City? I also don't know where my master is. When I was 13, he passed on his medical skills to me and left. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said, Qingfeng, if I'm not wrong, your master most likely comes from a powerful sect. Only in a sect would there be such mysterious medical skills. Bai Xishan said with yearning. In his heart, he was a little envious of Yi Chunfeng's luck. In the evening, the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination came to an end. The news of Yi Chunfeng severely injuring Lien Yulong in 3 moves spread like the wind in many martial houses, attracting the attention of many parties. As for the Yi family, one of the 3 great families of the imperial city, when they heard this news from Yi Xiling, they fell into a state of shock. I believe everyone knows about the news from Xiling. What do you all think of this matter? The head of the Yi family, Yi Qingchuan, was wearing a black robe with dark patterns. His face was as angular as a knife, and his eyes were deep and powerful. He sat on a richly ornamented wooden armchair and asked in a low voice. I really don't know what kind of dog's hit luck Yi Chunfeng had. He actually awakened his spiritual beast a second time and broke through to the 6th grade. Yi Tianming, who had insisted on expelling Yi Chunfeng from the Yi family, said with a gloomy face. It doesn't matter whether Yi Chunfeng had dog's hit luck or not. He has indeed awakened his spiritual beast. His terrifying talent has returned. Yi Qingchuan took a deep breath and said, Father, you can't be thinking of bringing Yi Chunfeng back, right? Yi Tianming asked with an ugly expression. If he brought Yi Chunfeng back, it would undoubtedly make him lose face. Tianming, I know what you are worried about, but do you think that your face or the future of the Yi family is more important? Yi Qingchuan asked with a solemn face. Father, I admit that I have underestimated Yi Chunfeng. But I don't believe that he, who has turned over a new leaf, can control the future of the Yi family. Yi Tianming said unconvinced. Tianming, who do you think among the younger generation of the Yi family is comparable to Jiang Yijuan and Ji Qingxue? And who can support the entire Yi family in 100 years? This, although the Yi family was one of the three major families in the kingdom of Zijin, the only genius in the younger generation of the Yi family was Yi Xiling. Regardless of talent or spiritual beast, Yi Xiling could not be compared to Jiang Yijuan and Ji Qingxue. After thinking about it, Yi Tianming had to admit that the Yi family really needed Yi Chunfeng, the top genius. Also, the current situation in the kingdom of Zijin is very chaotic. The battle between the first prince and the second prince for the throne has reached a white-hot stage. Our Yi family is the same as the Ji family. We have always been dependent on the second prince. But if the second prince fails in the battle for the throne, our Yi family will most likely be wiped out by the first prince. And if Yi Chunfeng returns to our Yi family and enters the Sky Fire Martial House to cultivate, the first prince will more or less have some scruples. Yi Qingchuan sighed softly and revealed the inside story. Father, although your idea is good, it won't be easy to eliminate Yi Chunfeng's hostility towards our Yi family and let him come back. Yi family's third son, Yi Yihai, said. That's right. Actually, this is our wishful thinking. In the end, the initiative is still in Yi Chunfeng's hands. If he is unwilling to come back, we really can't do anything, Yi Qingchuan said with a sigh. He regretted his decision to expel Yi Chunfeng from the Yi family. Chapter 38. The misty rain sprinkled on the emerald green bamboo leaves, like a young girl gently stroking the strings of a zither, relaxing one's mind. Yi Chunfeng bid farewell to Bai Xia and the others. Riding the Fergana stallion that was gifted to him by the Bai family and worth tens of thousands of silvers, he hurried towards the center of the Zijin kingdom's power, the Zijin imperial city. After half a day of hurrying, he arrived outside the Zijin imperial city in the evening. Looking at the majestic imperial city gates that were dozens of meters tall, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but recall his childhood. He thought of his foster father, Yi Xuanxiang, who had treated him like his own flesh and blood but had mysteriously passed away. Foster father, wait until I enter the Sky Fire Martial House. I will definitely use the power of the Martial House to investigate the cause of your death. If you were really killed by someone, I swear I will personally kill the enemy and avenge you. Yi Chunfeng clenched his fists and secretly swore in his heart. Yi Chunfeng left the Fergana stallion at a relay station outside the city and put on the human skin mask that he had bought earlier. After disguising himself, he walked into the Zijin imperial city. The reason why Yi Chunfeng was so careful was because he was afraid that the Jiang family would discover his whereabouts and cause unnecessary trouble. Walking on the familiar streets, Yi Chunfeng first headed towards the largest shop in the Zijin imperial city, the Myriad Treasure House. He wanted to buy spirit pills that could replenish his blood and qi. If Yi Chunfeng could completely replenish his blood and qi before the Heavenly Fire Martial House's entrance exam, he would be able to reach the level of a river of blood. Then, his physical strength would reach 10,000 jin. With a single punch, the explosive power would be enough to crush an ordinary soul skill. However, spirit pills that could replenish blood and qi were too rare, and the Myriad Treasure House did not have any in stock. Shopkeeper, where can I buy spirit pills that can replenish blood and qi? Yi Chunfeng asked the shopkeeper of the Myriad Treasure House. Spirit pills that can replenish blood and qi are too rare. In the past year, even the Imperial City's auction did not have any spirit pills for sale. The shopkeeper, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles and a white robe, said coldly. Yi Chunfeng took out a banknote worth 1,000 taels of silver and secretly stuffed it into the shopkeeper's hand as he said, "Shopkeeper, I really need a spirit medicine that can replenish my qi and blood. As long as you can provide a way to buy it, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Alright. Seeing that you're quite sensible, I'll reveal something to you. The shopkeeper stuffed the banknotes into his sleeve without leaving a trace and said, "A few days ago, the G family offered a generous reward for famous doctors from all over the country to treat Master G's illness. Among the rewards, there was a precious 1,000-year-old king blood ginseng. 1,000-year blood ginseng king." Yi Chunfeng had once checked the ancient books and knew that the blood ginseng was definitely a panacea that could replenish one's qi and blood. The 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king was a top-quality panacea. If he could obtain that 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king, his strength would greatly increase. However, the Ji family head's injuries are very serious. Even the imperial doctors in the imperial city are helpless. So, whether or not you can get the Ji family's reward will depend on your ability, the shopkeeper said. Thank you for telling me. After obtaining this important information, Yi Chunfeng did not stay for long. He got up and left the 10,000 treasure house. Ji family. Although Yi Chunfeng did not want to step into the Ji family and did not want to have anything to do with Ji Qingxue, he was determined to obtain the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. If he could obtain it, his strength would at least double. When he entered the heavenly fire marshal house, he would be able to fight for more cultivation resources. The next morning, Yi Chunfeng walked under the morning sun towards the Ji family's old residence, located in the northwestern part of the imperial city. The Ji family is indeed worthy of being one of the 3 great families of the Zijin kingdom. The reward they issued actually attracted so many doctors. When Yi Chunfeng arrived at the Ji family's old residence, he discovered that there were many doctors gathered at the entrance. They were undergoing the Ji family's strict examination. Only by passing the examination would they have the qualifications to enter the Ji family's old residence and treat the Ji family head, Ji Yanjing. As the Ji family's examination was very strict, almost 90% of the doctors were unable to pass the examination and were blocked outside the door. This caused them to be extremely dissatisfied. However, when they thought of the Ji family's high status in the Zijin kingdom, they could only complain and leave. "Sir, you must have seen the reward and are here to treat the Ji family head, right?" When it was Yi Chunfeng's turn, a white-haired old man with a gentle smile on his face looked at the immature Yi Chunfeng and asked. "Yes." Yi Chunfeng nodded. His face, which was covered by the human skin mask, was expressionless. "I'm sorry, the doctors that our Ji family recruits must have at least 30 years of medical experience. Looking at your age, I'm afraid you are not even 30 years old. Medical experience does not represent everything. Everything depends on one's strength. If you miss me, I'm afraid you will miss the last chance to save the Ji family head," Yi Chunfeng said calmly. His domineering words made the white-haired old man frown. "I'm sorry, we can't risk the family head's life. Please go back." After thinking for a while, the white-haired old man still rejected Yi Chunfeng and did not let him in. If I remember correctly, the eldest daughter of the Ji family went to Bai Di City not long ago and wanted to invite back the godly doctor who treated the Bai family head. Seeing that the white-haired old man rejected him, Yi Chunfeng was not angry and said indifferently, "For the 1,000-year blood ginseng king, Yi Chunfeng had no choice but to expose his other identity. However, he had already convinced the Bai family to keep his identity a secret. He was not afraid that the Bai family would betray him. Could it be that you are the godly doctor?" The white-haired old man raised his eyebrows and looked at Yi Chunfeng in a different way. The white-haired old man had heard Ji Qingxue mention that the godly doctor who treated Bai Shishan was very young. Moreover, not many people knew about this matter. He could basically guess Yi Chunfeng's identity. "I was the one who cured the Bai family head," Yi Chunfeng said indifferently. "My apologies, I was neglectful just now. I hope the godly doctor doesn't mind. May I know the godly doctor's surname?" "My surname is Chen." "Godly Dr. Chen, please come in." The white-haired old man bowed slightly and said apologetically. He personally led Yi Chunfeng into the ancient Ji family residence. Walking on the winding gravel road, Yi Chunfeng's sharp senses sensed that there were many experts hidden in the shadows of the Ji family residence. Among these experts there were even powerful beast illusionists. Why is the Ji family residence so heavily guarded? Could it be that something big has happened? Yi Chunfeng sensed an unusual aura through the Ji family residence's security. Ji Qing Shui. Yi Chunfeng followed the white-haired old man through a sea of emerald-green bamboos and arrived outside a luxurious hall. When Yi Chunfeng swept his gaze over the hall that was filled with cloud patterns, he saw Ji Qingshui, who was wearing an emerald-green silk dress. She had an elegant temperament and was extremely beautiful. At this moment, she was standing beside her father, Ji Yunyu. Her brows were tightly knitted as she thought about something. Yi Chunfeng shifted his gaze away from Ji Qingshui and expressionlessly walked into the noisy hall. Chapter 39. Housekeeper Ji, who is this? Ji Yunyu looked at Yi Chunfeng, who exuded a childish aura and had no expression on his face, and asked. Young master, this is Master Chen, the one that young miss mentioned before, the one who cured old master Bai, the white-haired old man introduced. It's him. As soon as the white-haired old man finished speaking, Ji Qingshui, who was deep in thought, suddenly raised her head and looked at Yi Chunfeng. When she carefully examined the disguised Yi Chunfeng, a familiar feeling arose in her heart, as if she knew him. Sir, are you really the divine Dr. Chen who cured old Master Bai? Ji Yunyu was very clear about Bai Shishan's condition. Even Imperial Physician Su, who was one of the top medical experts in the Imperial City, was helpless. However, this divine doctor only used a little more than an hour to expel the fire poison from Bai Shishan's body. It was enough to show that his medical skills had surpassed the standards of the Imperial physicians. However, Yi Chunfeng gave off a feeling that he was too young, so Ji Yunyu could not help but suspect his identity. He cast his gaze at Ji Qingshui. It's me. Yi Chunfeng nodded. Master Chen, have we met before? Ji Qingshui looked at Yi Chunfeng with sparkling eyes and asked in a pleasant voice. Although Yi Chunfeng's face was unfamiliar, a woman's sixth sense told Ji Qingshui that she definitely knew him. No. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said in a cold voice, I'm here to treat a patient, not to chat. If you don't believe me, I'll leave immediately. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's cold voice, Ji Qingshui's sense of déjà vu became even stronger. Why is his voice so similar to that person's? Thinking back to the mysterious young man who saved her and Bai Xia's lives that night, Ji Qingshui realized that the two of them, whether it was their tone of voice or their body shape, were very similar. Could it be that they are the same person? Did he disguise himself last time? As she thought about it, Ji Qingshui's heartbeat suddenly sped up. Her beautiful eyes stared at Yi Chunfeng, as if she wanted to see through him. What a temper! Anyone here can be your master. We haven't said anything yet, but you're already so impatient. An old man with an extremely high status in the medical world, who wore a dark golden doctor's robe, glared at Yi Chunfeng and scolded him loudly. Then how confident are you in curing Patriarch Bai? Yi Chunfeng asked indifferently when he saw the disdain in the eyes of the old man in golden robes. What? Are you very confident? The dark golden-robed elder sneered. At least I'm more confident than you guys, Yi Chunfeng said confidently. What an arrogant brat! I is a master. I was learned of you was not even I was you I was you? I you was I. Was I you was I you was you was not even was I was you? You, was I was I use I. Age does not mean anything. Everything depends on strength. As for who you are, I am not interested in knowing, Yi Chunfeng said indifferently as he looked at the furious old man in dark golden robes. You! All right, both of you. Please give me some face and stop talking. Let's focus on how to treat my father's illness. Ji Yunyu frowned as he looked at the two who refused to back down. He had no choice but to mediate between them. The old man in the dark golden robe was trembling with anger at Yi Chunfeng. He gritted his teeth and said, "If you insist on keeping him here, I will leave immediately." Yi Chunfeng was so angry that he was trembling all over. "Let me take a look at the patient," Yi Chunfeng said indifferently, ignoring the angry dark golden-robed old man. "This." Ji Yunyu glanced at the furious old man in the dark golden robes, then at the calm and collected Yi Chunfeng, who did not have any expression on his face. He began to worry. Although Yi Chunfeng exuded an extraordinary aura, the old man in the dark golden robe was the imperial physician of the imperial city. His medical skills were outstanding. Ji Yunyu did not dare to take the risk of keeping Yi Chunfeng here. "Father, let Master Chen try. I have confidence in him." Just as the situation was in a deadlock, Ji Qingxue bit her moist lips and said, "All right, I'll leave." Hearing that Ji Qingxue had chosen Yi Chunfeng, the old man in the dark golden robe was so angry that his face turned black. He flicked his sleeves and left. "Ah, Master Chen, please follow me." Seeing the old man in the dark golden robe leave in anger, Ji Yunyu gritted his teeth and helplessly brought Yi Chunfeng to the small courtyard where Ji Yanjing lived. What a strong smell of medicine! Walking into the small courtyard, Yi Chunfeng smelled the strong smell of medicine in the air. When he pushed open the door and walked into the house, he saw Ji Yanjing, who was soaked in a large tub of medicine. His body was thin and his face was ashen. "Yunyu, who is this?" Hearing the commotion, Ji Yanjing, who was soaking in the tub of medicine, slowly opened his eyes. When he saw Yi Chunfeng, who exuded a youthful aura, he asked, "Father, this is Master Chen who saved old Bai." Ji Yunyu introduced. However, in his heart, he didn't think highly of Yi Chunfeng. "I didn't expect Master Chen to be so young." Ji Yanjing smiled and said, "Age doesn't mean everything." Yi Chunfeng directly walked to the tub of medicine and ordered, "Give me your hand." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's commanding tone, Ji Yanjing was stunned. It had been a long time since someone spoke to him in such a tone. "Grandfather, believe in Master Chen. He will definitely cure you." Seeing that Ji Yanjing had not moved for a long time, Ji Qingxue said, "Who told you that I can definitely cure you? Maybe the more I treat you, the worse it will get." Yi Chunfeng said coldly. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's reprimand, Ji Qingxue immediately put on an aggrieved expression. She couldn't understand why he was so hostile towards her. "Haha, you're really interesting. Then I'll hand these old bones over to you." Ji Yanjing looked at the aggrieved Ji Qingxue and handed his slightly withered arm to Yi Chunfeng. Why are your injuries so serious? Almost all the flesh in your body is necrotic." When Yi Chunfeng took Ji Yanjing's pulse, he realized that his injuries were much more serious than he had imagined. The continuous recurrence of old injuries had almost destroyed all the flesh in his body and eroded his vitality. "Sigh, it's a long story. I wonder if the divine doctor has a way to slow down my condition?" Ji Yanjing understood his body's condition very well. He didn't expect to recover completely. He only hoped that his condition could be slowed down and help the Ji family get through the most difficult period. It's not difficult to slow down your condition, but curing it might be a little troublesome. However, it's not impossible, Yi Chunfeng slowly said as he searched through his inherited memories. "Really, I really have hope of recovering completely." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, Ji Yanjing raised his brows. His turbid eyes shot out rays of light. "There's hope, but I need to think about it." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Master Chen, if you can really cure my father, you will be my Ji family's eternal friend." Ji Yunyu said with slight excitement. Ji Yanjing was too important to the Ji family. If something happened to him, the Ji family would be annihilated. "I'm not interested in being your Ji family's eternal friend. I'm here for the reward," Yi Chunfeng said in a low voice. Master Chen, as long as you can slow down my condition and prevent it from acting up in a short period of time, you can choose 2 treasures from my Ji family's reward. If you can cure me, I'll give you the reward. Ji Yanjing promised in front of everyone. All right. Chapter 40. Stand aside and don't speak. If you disturb me and cause my acupuncture to fail, you will bear the consequences. Yi Chunfeng warned coldly after disinfecting the needles. Don't worry, Master Chen. We won't disturb you. Ji Yunyu and Ji Qingxue said in unison. They took a few steps back and waited for Yi Chunfeng's treatment. Few, are you ready? I'm going to start the acupuncture. Yi Chunfeng adjusted his breathing and used his fingers to pick up a few needles. Using the heavenly profound needle, he smoothly inserted the needles that contained soul power into the acupuncture points on Ji Yanjing's body. In the next moment, a cold and hot energy appeared in Ji Yanjing's body. It penetrated deep into his flesh and bones, cleansing the remaining poison in his body and healing his old injuries. As the stimulation of his acupoints became more and more intense, Ji Yanjing felt that half of his body had fallen into a cold abyss and the other half had fallen into a furnace. Large amounts of sweat appeared on his forehead and his old body kept twitching. Although Yi Chunfeng's treatment was painful, the effect was very obvious. The poison in Ji Yanjing's body was expelled little by little and the blocked meridians in his body became much smoother. However, Ji Yanjing's injuries were too severe. Purely relying on the heavenly profound needle was not enough to cure his illness. After releasing soul power to control the needles for a long time, Yi Chunfeng's soul power was severely depleted. His clothes were drenched in sweat and he felt dizzy. Yi Chunfeng did not force himself and immediately withdrew the needles from Ji Yanjing's acupuncture points and stopped the treatment. Patriarch Ji, how are you feeling? Yi Chunfeng let out a mouthful of turbid air and looked at Ji Yanjing, who was slowly opening his eyes. Thank you for the trouble. I feel much better. Feeling the changes in his injuries, Ji Yanjing's heart was in turmoil. Grandfather, Master Chen's treatment is really effective. Ji Qingxue asked excitedly. Yes, it's very effective. There's hope for me to recover. Ji Yanjing nodded his head and said, I wonder which expert Master Chen is. He has such ability at such a young age. Today's treatment will end here. I will write down a prescription. You guys follow the prescription and brew it for family head Ji to drink. It will be more or less useful for his injuries. Yi Chunfeng did not answer Ji Yanjing's question. He grabbed the pen and paper on the table and started to write down the prescription. Beautiful words appeared on the paper one by one. The handwriting was natural and elegant, like flowing clouds and flowing water, smooth and freehand. Good calligraphy, really good calligraphy. Looking at the prescription Yi Chunfeng had written down, Ji Yunyu's eyes brightened. Regardless of the value of this prescription, just the words on it were worth a lot of money. All right, that's all for today. I'll take my leave first. I'll be back in 3 days. Yi Chunfeng, who looked a little tired, put away the silver needles and prepared to leave. Master Chen, do you have a place to stay in the Imperial City? If you don't, why don't you stay in my Ji family? After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's medical skills, Ji Yunyu enthusiastically urged him to stay. No need, I have a place to stay. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and refused. He turned around and walked out. All right then. Qingxue, send Master Chen off. Seeing Yi Chunfeng leave without hesitation, Ji Yanjing shook his head helplessly. He glanced at Ji Qingxue and said, Don't worry. And Ji Qingxue glanced at Yi Chunfeng's proud back. Thinking of his suspected identity, she quickly followed him. Feeling that Ji Qingxue was chasing after him, Yi Chunfeng did not slow down. It was as if he did not notice the fairy-like Ji Qingxue behind him. Master Chen, I have a question. Can you answer it for me? After catching up to Yi Chunfeng, Ji Qingxue looked at his cold and expressionless face. She lightly bit her lips and asked, What question? Is Master Chen the person who saved me and Xia in the Baiyun mountain range? Ji Qingxue asked expectantly. No, you must have mistaken me for someone else. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and coldly replied. All right, we're at the door. Miss Ji, please go back. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng ignored Ji Qingshue's resentful gaze and walked out of the Ji family's old residence, disappearing into the sea of people. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's departing figure, Ji Qingxue felt very wronged. After so many years, this was the first time she had been ignored. Moreover, from Yi Chunfeng's proud voice, she could hear a trace of hostility. She could not figure out how she had offended him to make him hate her so much. Could it be because of my engagement with Yi Chunfeng that caused him to misunderstand? After thinking about it, Ji Qingxue thought of a groundless reason. No matter what the reason is, I will definitely find out your identity and change your opinion of me. Ji Qingxue clenched her fists and secretly swore in her heart. After leaving the Ji family, the tired Yi Chunfeng felt that no one was following him. He found a deserted corner and took off his human skin mask. He was prepared to find an inn to stay in and prepare for the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment. Serene Cloud Inn. The environment is not bad. I'll stay here for the time being. Yi Chunfeng walked to an inn with an elegant environment. It was situated in a garden, and he was very satisfied with the environment. This inn has been booked by my Shen Tu family clan. Quickly leave and do not disturb the young master and young mistress rest. Just as Yi Chunfeng walked into the inn, a tall and beautiful woman wearing a white lotus root qipao blocked his path and coldly said. She had an arrogant look on her face. The Shen Tu family clan is so overbearing. Yi Chunfeng had a good understanding of the Shen Tu family clan. He knew that they were one of the ancient martial arts clans around the Zijin kingdom. Their family's heritage far exceeded the Zijin kingdom's 3 great clans. Their arrival at the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment in 3 days was probably the same as him. How dare you? What kind of dog are you? My Shen Tu family clan is not something you can comment on. Quickly apologize to me. Just as Yi Chunfeng turned around to leave, a furious roar rang out. A woman wearing a bright red silk dress that revealed her fair and slender legs and an unruly expression on her delicate face glared at Yi Chunfeng as she shouted loudly, What are you doing? Apologize? Why should I apologize? Yi Chunfeng calmly glanced at the arrogant and insufferably arrogant young woman and asked. Seeing Yi Chunfeng's disdainful gaze, the young woman who had never been ignored by anyone was furious. She ordered loudly, If you dare to speak to me in such a tone, I'll break your dog legs. The young woman was completely enraged. A lifelike snow fox appeared from her body. Her slender legs suddenly exerted strength, and she jumped high up from the wooden stairs. With a swift and fierce kick, she kicked towards Yi Chunfeng. Hearing the whistling sound of the wind in front of him, Yi Chunfeng turned around abruptly. Rolling power surged into his right fist. With one punch, he smashed apart the fierce wind coming from the kick, sending the young woman who was kicking towards him flying with a punch. Rumble! A series of shattering noises sounded. A few tables were smashed by the young woman who lost control. She fell heavily to the ground and did not get up for a long time. Chapter 41. The Heavenly Fire Marshal House was the highest-ranked martial house in the Zijin Kingdom. It had a history of nearly 1,000 years. However, the Heavenly Fire Marshal House did not belong to the Zijin Kingdom. It was established by the third-grade sect, the Heavenly Fire sect. It was located in the east of the Zijin Kingdom, deep within the Purple Cloud Mountains. It could be said that the Heavenly Fire Marshal House was the place that the Zijin Kingdom and the surrounding ancient martial clans yearned for the most. However, the Heavenly Fire Marshal House's examination was extremely harsh. Unless one was a genius among geniuses or a monster among monsters, it would be very difficult to pass the examination and enter the Heavenly Fire Marshal House to cultivate. However, once one entered the Heavenly Fire Marshal House, one would be able to learn a multitude of inheritances. Breaking through to the Earth Beast General Realm was no longer a dream. More importantly, the Heavenly Fire Marshal House was the bridge to the Heavenly Fire Sect. If one was lucky enough to enter the Heavenly Fire Sect, they would have the opportunity to glimpse the legendary realm. Their status would be even more respected than the emperor of a kingdom. After 3 days of rest, Yi Chunfeng rented a small courtyard and adjusted his body to its peak state. He walked to the examination site outside the Purple Cloud Mountains to participate in the examination. Walking to the foot of the Purple Cloud Mountains, Yi Chunfeng saw a simple and majestic hall standing at the foot of the mountain. In the middle of the hall there was a huge signboard. On the signboard, there were 3 words written in flamboyant calligraphy: Ascending Immortal Hall. Ascending Immortal Hall. Once you enter the hall, you will ascend to immortality. What a bold name! When Yi Chunfeng saw the words Immortal Ascension Hall, he immediately felt a majestic aura rush towards him. Just as he was feeling the ancient aura of the Ascending Immortal Hall, a familiar voice suddenly entered his ears. Yi Chunfeng, why are you here? Hearing the voice, Yi Chunfeng slowly turned around. He saw Ji Qingxue, who was wearing a dark green silk dress. Her skin was as smooth as milk, and her entire body was emitting a fatal charm. She was accompanied by an expert from the Ji family. Because Ji Yan's old injury had relapsed, the Ji family was in a mess. Ji Qingxue did not know that Yi Chunfeng had obtained the first place in the White Emperor Marshal House. Why? You can come, but I can't? Yi Chunfeng saw the disgust and surprise hidden in Ji Qingxue's eyes, but he didn't care. After that, Yi Chunfeng no longer paid any attention to Ji Qingxue. Instead, he took out the token that symbolized his identity from his bosom. Then, he passed through the examination of an old man who was guarding the entrance. Then, he smoothly entered the Ascension Immortal Hall. How is that possible? He actually has a test medallion? Isn't he a piece of trash? Did he awaken his spiritual beast? When Ji Qingxue saw Yi Chunfeng walk into the Immortal Ascension Hall, she was even more surprised. She couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng had awakened his spiritual beast a second time at the age of 15. However, she did not doubt that Yi Chunfeng, Master Chen, and the cold and arrogant man who saved her life and touched her heart were the same person. In her opinion, Yi Chunfeng definitely did not have that kind of strength and ability. Walking into the Ascending Immortal Hall, Yi Chunfeng saw that there were many luxuriously dressed young people standing in the hall. They were either rich or respectable. Judging from the aura that they inadvertently released, these people were definitely not ordinary people. They were all first-class geniuses. Third brother, it's him. He was the one who insulted my Shen Tu family clan and injured me for no reason. Just as Yi Chunfeng was looking around the ancient Ascending Immortal Hall and observing his competitors, an angry scream rang out. A tall, slender, and rather beautiful young woman pointed at him angrily. She wanted nothing more than to cut him into pieces. And this woman was none other than the unruly woman from the Shen Tu family clan who was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's punch 3 days ago. I've finally found you. Kid, you sure have guts. You even dare to bully my sister. I think you must have eaten a bear's heart and leopard's guts. Beside the unruly girl, a young man with a tall and straight figure, who was wearing luxurious clothes, blocked Yi Chunfeng's path and spoke fiercely. His eyes revealed a trace of fierceness. Why? Do you want to avenge your sister? But this is not your Shen Tu family clan's territory. If you make a move here, you have to think about the consequences. Yi Chunfeng knew that even if he spoke until his mouth cracked, the man would not believe him. Hence, he could not be bothered to explain and warned him coldly. The conflict between Yi Chunfeng and the Shen Tu family clan's brother and sister had attracted a lot of attention. Seeing the two of them go head-to-head, Ji Qingxue shook her head and the disgust in her eyes intensified. You, thinking of the Sky Fire Marshal House's rules, which forbade private fights during the examination period, the finely dressed man did not dare to make a move. He gritted his teeth and swallowed his anger. Like a hungry wolf, he stared at Yi Chunfeng and said, "Brat, just you wait. When the Sky Fire Martial House's examination is over, I will not forgive you." "Why? Do you want to challenge me to a battle?" Hearing the man's threat, Yi Chunfeng was not afraid and deliberately asked loudly, "That's right. I challenge you to a battle. Do you dare to accept?" The man raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of surprise as he asked loudly. As a top genius of the Shen Tu family clan, he did not put the Zijin Kingdom's geniuses in his eyes, much less Yi Chunfeng. "All right, after the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment is over, I will challenge you. But should we bet on something?" Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile as he asked, "What do you want to bet?" Shin Tu-Ye's eyes flashed with an ominous glint as he asked, "Let's bet on the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment reward. If someone does not get the reward, then we will give them 1,000,000 taels of silver as compensation." Yi Chunfeng said, "It seems that you are very confident in this assessment. But, as you wish, I will bet with you." Shen Tu-Yi agreed. "I hope that you will not break your promise when the time comes. Otherwise, I will definitely make you regret it." After finishing his words, Yi Chunfeng ignored the ugly expression on the man's face and walked away alone. "Damn it, I don't care who you are. When the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment is over, I will definitely break your dog legs and make you lie on the ground like a dog begging me to let you go." The man stared at Yi Chunfeng's back as he gritted his teeth and swore. "Shin Tu-Yi, I find that you are really regressing. You are really an embarrassment to our ancient martial arts family." Just as the luxuriously dressed man swore to himself, a burly middle-aged man with long black hair draped over his shoulders, giving off a wanton and unrestrained feeling, walked to his side and coldly mocked him. Hearing the mocking words, Shen Tu-Ye's anger was ignited. However, when he saw the person who walked over, he immediately felt the pressure from his body and the anger on his face disappeared. "Shang Guanping, you have broken through, that's right. Not long ago, I broke through to become a level 2 beast illusionist." Shang Guanping nodded his head. His face was filled with arrogance as he said, "First place in the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment is mine. You have no chance." After finishing his words, the arrogant Shang Guanping laughed loudly and turned to leave. Chapter 42. After about 10 minutes, a white-robed old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion walked out from the inner hall. He stood on top of the stairs and said in a deep voice, "I am one of the examiners for this assessment. You can call me Elder Lu." So strong, this Elder Lu is so strong. When Yi Chunfeng saw Elder Lu, he was immediately shocked by his strength. He felt that Elder Lu was definitely the strongest person he had ever seen. Next, I will announce the contents of the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment. This assessment is divided into 3 parts: Strength Test, Puppet Test, and Crossing the Purple Cloud Mountain Range. Only those who pass all 3 will be qualified to become a disciple of the Sky Fire Martial House. After the assessment, we will choose the top 10 based on the results of the 3 rounds and reward them. The reward for the first place is a 9th grade 9 Chu Spirit Pill. The second place is an 8th grade Earth Spirit Pill. The third place is an 8th grade White Jade Sun Pill. The 4th to 10th place are low-grade Spirit Crystals. Hearing the assessment rewards, the eyes of the proud geniuses lit up as they became excited. After all, 8th grade and 9th grade pills were rare in the ancient martial families. Especially the 9 Chu Spirit Pill, it was a legendary pill. If they could obtain it, they could at least break through 1 level in a short period of time. Even if they couldn't obtain the 9 Chu Spirit Pill, the Earth Spirit Pill and the White Jade Sun Pill were equally attractive to them. They were filled with fighting spirit and couldn't wait to participate in the assessment. Idiots, a bunch of idiot. The 9 Chu Spirit Pill is something you want to get your hands on. The tall and sturdy Shangguan Ping with a face full of arrogance revealed a trace of ridicule. In his opinion, the 9 Chu Spirit Pill was prepared for him. No one had the strength to compete with him. Although Shen Tui didn't expect to obtain the 9-Chu Spirit Pill, he was very interested in the Earth Spirit Pill and the White Jade Sun Pill. If he could obtain either of these two 8th-grade pills, he was confident that he could break through to a 2nd-grade beast illusionist in a short period of time. At that time, he wouldn't need to fear Shangguan Peng and could enter the Sky Fire Martial House to fight for more cultivation resources. As expected of the Sky Fire Martial House. What a big deal! In Yi Chunfeng's inherited memories, there was an introduction to these two medicinal pills. He knew that they were extremely difficult to refine, especially the 9-Chu Spirit Pill, which was refined using 108 kinds of spiritual items of heaven and earth. It was priceless. However, he knew very well that it was very difficult to win first place. If he wanted to win first place, he had to quickly replenish the qi and blood in his body and increase his strength. It seems that I have to get the 1000-year blood ginseng king as soon as possible. Otherwise, I might miss out on the top 3 prizes. Alright, everyone quiet down. We will now begin the strength test. Everyone follow me to the strength testing stone tablet. As he spoke, Elder Lu led Yi Chunfeng and the others into the magnificent Immortal Ascension Hall. They saw a pitch-black stone tablet that was nearly 10 meters tall standing on the ground. This stone tablet is the strength measuring stone tablet. When the test begins, all of you will use all your strength to attack the stone tablet. As long as your strength reaches over 500 kilograms, you will pass. Remember, each of you will only have 3 chances. If you fail all 3 times, you will be eliminated. Elder Lu stood under the huge strength measuring stone tablet and announced loudly. Alright, all of you get ready. I will start reading out the names. The disciples whose names are called will take the test. Feng Xiaoxiao. Hearing Elder Lu call out her name, a beautiful girl in her 20s with snow-white skin and picturesque features walked out from the crowd and came to the strength measuring stone tablet. As she took a deep breath, the soul power in her mind gushed out. A strong and powerful steed that emitted a blue light emerged from her body. 3-eyed steed. Yi Chunfeng glanced at Feng Xiaoxiao's spiritual beast and was slightly surprised. He thought to himself, as expected of a genius from an ancient martial family. She has already broken through to a Class 1 beast illusionist at such a young age. She even has a mutated spiritual beast. In the same rank, a mutated spiritual beast was more terrifying. However, mutated spiritual beasts were extremely rare and were rare even in the Sky Fire Martial House. After fusing with her mutated spiritual beast, the 3-eyed steed, Feng Xiaoxiao's body suddenly leaned forward. Rolling blue soul power gathered in her right fist, and she punched the strength-measuring stone tablet. In the next moment, the pitch-black strength-measuring stone tablet emitted a white light that quickly rose up the stone tablet. Finally, Feng Xiaoxiao's result was announced. Her punch had a force of 2,150 kilograms, which convinced many people. Pass. Next. Elder Lu was satisfied with Feng Xiaoxiao's result. He nodded and continued to call out names for the strength-measuring stone tablet. Although the Sky Fire Martial House limited the number of people to take the test every year, a mere 50 people, it was inevitable that the strength of these 50 people would be uneven. In addition, many people were nervous and couldn't perform at their best, resulting in unsatisfactory results. After Feng Xiaoxiao, only 2 of the 5 disciples successfully passed the test. The remaining 3 were eliminated and regretfully lost the right to take the test. Ji Qingxue. Just as Yi Chunfeng and the rest were waiting patiently, Elder Lu called out Ji Qingxue's name. Ji Qingxue, the number 1 beauty of the Violet Gold Imperial City. She is indeed very beautiful. I wonder how it feels to press her down. When Shangguan Peng saw the tall and beautiful Ji Qingxue, his eyes immediately emitted a fiery light as evil thoughts arose in his heart. Screech. A screech sounded from Ji Qingxue's body. She fused with her spiritual beast, the ice bird, and punched the pitch-black strength measuring stone tablet. In the next moment, the light emitted by the strength measuring stone tablet became stronger and stronger. In the end, Ji Qingshue's result was announced. 1,800 kilograms of strength. Her strength far surpassed that of a Class 6 spirit beast. Ji Qingshue's growth is indeed very fast. She is not far from breaking through to a Class 1 beast illusionist. When Yi Chunfeng saw Ji Qingshue's result, he muttered in his heart. After Ji Qingxue, Shangguan Peng, Shin Tuyi, and the unruly girl who had a conflict with Yi Chunfeng, Shin Tubing, took the stage one after another. Among them, the powerful Class 2 beast illusionist, Shangguan Peng, even managed to produce a result of 1,800 kilograms of strength with a single punch, shocking everyone present. Although Shin Tuye's result wasn't as stunning as Shangguan Peng's, his result surpassed Feng Xiaoxiao, who was the first to take the stage. He had reached 2,500 kilograms of strength and was ranked second among all the result. Seeing his own result, Shin Tuyi revealed a satisfied smile. He deliberately cast a provocative look at Yi Chunfeng, wanting to see a look of reverence in his eyes. However, Yi Chunfeng ignored his provocation. He was constantly thinking about the pros and cons of revealing his physical strength. Yi Chunfeng. Just when Yi Chunfeng was deep in thought, Elder Lu finally called his name and pulled him back from his thoughts. It's finally my turn. Yi Chunfeng raised his head slightly and glanced at the strength-measuring stone tablet that was more than 10 meters tall. He walked over with his usual step. For the 9 Chu spirit pill, he decided to reveal his strongest physical strength. As for the consequences of revealing his trump card, he had already thrown them to the back of his mind. Strength itself was a kind of arrogance. Weakness itself was a kind of mistake. Chapter 43. Brat, don't get eliminated so early. That would be too boring. Shin Tuyi, who was firmly in second place after hitting 2,500 kilograms of force, let out a mocking smile. He purposely lowered his voice into a thin line and transmitted it into Yi Chunfeng's ears. Shin Tuye's provocation did not affect Yi Chunfeng at all. He calmly stood under the stone tablet and silently adjusted his breathing and gathered his strength. What a powerful force! Elder Lu's eyes were cloudy when he suddenly felt a powerful force surging out from Yi Chunfeng's body, causing the air around him to violently churn. Elder Lu's eyes immediately lit up. Ha! Yi Chunfeng roared as all the muscles in his body suddenly tightened. Surging strength surged into his right fist like a surging tide. As he took a step forward, his entire body leapt out like a leopard. Borrowing the powerful impact, he compressed his strength to the extreme and hit the stone tablet with his fist. Boom! The stone tablet shook slightly. A blinding white light was released from the pitch-black stone tablet. The light was so strong that it was hard for people to open their eyes. After about 10 breaths of time, the white light from the stone tablet gradually disappeared. Yi Chunfeng's result was fixed at 5,800 kilograms of force. What? 5,800 kilograms of force? My eyes aren't blind, right? Am I seeing things? Heavens, without using soul power, he hit 5,800 kilograms of force with just his physical strength. Is this guy a humanoid monster? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's result, everyone, including Elder Lu, was stunned. They could not believe what they were seeing. How is this possible? How can his physical strength be so terrifying? Who is this guy? Seeing Yi Chunfeng's result, the smile on Shin Tuye's face instantly froze. For the first time, he was worried about his bet with Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng, did you overdraft your physical strength again? If this goes on, you'll be destroyed by yourself sooner or later. Ji Qingxue, who was in the crowd, did not have much shock on her face. In her opinion, Yi Chunfeng must have overdrawn his physical body to be able to achieve such a stunning result. Shang Guanping, it seems that you won't be able to obtain first place so easily. Feng Xiaoxiao, who was tall and graceful, walked to Shangguanpeng's side and said softly. She had an ugly expression on her face. It's just a bit of brute force. In a real fight, how much can brute force do? Everything still depends on strength. Shangguanpeng coldly snorted and said arrogantly. However, there was a trace of sternness in his eyes. Obviously, Yi Chunfeng's result made him very unhappy. Good, very good. Next. Elder Lu was very satisfied with Yi Chunfeng's results. Without using his soul power, he was able to achieve such an astonishing result. It was enough to show that his talent was extraordinary. He was a genius that the Sky Fire Martial House needed. The strength assessment lasted for almost an entire morning before it ended. After the morning assessment, of the 50 genius disciples from the Zijin Kingdom and the surrounding ancient martial clans, only 28 passed the strength assessment. 22 were eliminated. Alright, the disciples who passed the strength assessment follow me to the dining hall to eat. The eliminated disciples are to leave the Ascension Hall immediately and are not allowed to stay. Elder Lu coldly ordered, not giving them any face. Looking at the 22 disciples whose faces were flushed red with unwillingness, Elder Lu led the 28 people who passed the assessment into the Ascension Hall's dining hall to eat and rest. After eating the Sky Fire Martial House's special meal, Yi Chunfeng and the rest swept away their fatigue and followed Elder Lu to the interior of the Ascension Hall. There was a tall and simple stone room that emitted an austere aura. Array pattern. After entering the stone room, Yi Chunfeng's pupils shrank. He unexpectedly discovered that in the center of the stone room there were a large number of complex array patterns that formed a trapping array. He had seen this level of array pattern in the God Eater Brain's inherited memories. It was only a basic array pattern, but when combined together, its power was not small. Behind the array pattern was an iron house made of black profound iron. Although the iron house's door was tightly shut, Yi Chunfeng's keen perception could still see through the iron door. He could feel a ruthless and savage aura coming from the iron house. This is the second round of assessment, the Puppet Beast Prison. As long as you can defeat the puppet, you will pass. The loser will be eliminated. However, our Sky Fire Martial House only accepts geniuses among geniuses. Therefore, you will face a puppet that is one realm higher than you. In other words, a rank 6 Spirit Beast Master will face a rank 1 Beast Illusion Master Puppet Test. A rank 1 Beast Illusion Master will face a rank 2 Beast Illusion Master Puppet Test. Elder Lu explained in detail the rules of the puppet test. Fighting above one's rank. After knowing the rules of the puppet assessment, many disciples who passed the first round by luck had an ugly expression on their faces. Their hearts were filled with apprehension. Puppets were different from soul cultivators. Their physical defense was extremely terrifying. More importantly, they did not know pain and only knew how to kill. Their combat strength was definitely the most terrifying among those of the same rank. Trash, a bunch of trash. The powerful Shang Guanping took in everyone's expressions. His eyes were filled with contempt. However, when he glanced at Yi Chunfeng's face, he realized that Yi Chunfeng was calm and unaffected. I want to see how strong your combat strength is. Shang Guanping's eyes shone with an ominous glint as he muttered in his heart. Alright, everyone get ready. When I call your name, go to the weapon rack and choose your weapon. Then, enter the array for the assessment. Elder Lu said in a deep voice. Zhang Xian. Zhang Xian was the son of the Zijin Kingdom's great general, Zhang Yin. He had some fame in the Zijin imperial city. At the age of 21, he had broken through to the 6th grade spirit beast realm. His talent was only slightly inferior to Ji Qingshue's. In the first round, he had hit 1500 Jin and was ranked 11th. Zhang Xian calmly walked out and selected a long spear made of rebar steel from the weapon rack. He then walked into the array that was covered with array patterns. Release the Black Wolf puppet. Following Elder Lu's order, the defensive runes were activated. A Black Wolf puppet walked out of the cage. It was over 5 meters long and half of its head was covered in scales. It had reached the level of a level 1 beast illusionist. Its body emitted a ferocious, tyrannical, and bloodthirsty aura that made people tremble in fear. Ao! The black wolf puppet opened its bloody eyes and looked at Zhang Xian, who was not far away. Suddenly, it launched an attack at him. With a swift speed, it drew a black shadow in its original position and bit at his neck. Zhang Xian did not expect the black wolf puppet's attack to be so fast. He fused with his spiritual beast to increase his soul power while dodging the attack. However, under the impact of the black wolf puppet's violent aura, his dodging speed was affected to a certain extent. His back was slashed by the black wolf puppet's sharp claws, and a large amount of blood flowed out of his wounds. The body of a spirit beast was weak. With Zhang Xian's body injured, his attack power was greatly reduced. His attacks were completely suppressed by the black wolf puppet. Coupled with the fact that the black wolf puppet's defense was amazing, his attacks could not break through the black wolf puppet's defense. Chapter 44. Zhang Xian actually admitted defeat. This puppet test is simply too difficult. Looking at Zhang Xian, who had barely escaped death from the jaws of the black wolf puppet, covered in blood, and on the verge of death, many people felt uneasy. Next, Su Ping. Elder Lu ordered his men to carry the heavily injured Zhang Xian away for treatment and said loudly, "I admit defeat. I don't want to take the assessment." Su Ping was a charming girl in her early 20s. She was inferior to Zhang Xian in terms of strength and talent. Therefore, when she saw Zhang Xian's fate, she was so scared that her face turned pale, and she admitted defeat on the spot. Su Ping's surrender made Elder Lu frown slightly. He continued to shout, "Next, Shin Tui. Third brother, do your best." Shin Tubing clenched her fists and cheered for Shin Tui. Shin Tui did not disappoint. He held a sharp saber in his hand and used only half an hour to shatter the puppet that was 1 level higher than him. He passed the assessment. After shattering the puppet, Shin Tui's face revealed a trace of arrogance. However, this time, he did not provoke Yi Chenfeng. Clearly, Yi Chenfeng's results in the first round had intimidated him. Very good. Next, Feng Xiaoxiao after Shin Tui. Feng Xiaoxiao, Shin Tubing, Ji Qingxue, and the others defeated the puppet and passed the second round. However, the time they took to defeat the puppet was far less than Shin Tui's. Among them, Ji Qingxue fought bitterly for half an hour. In the end, she relied on her spirit beast's ability to restrain the puppet's attributes to pass the second round. Ji Qingxue and the others passed the assessment in thrilling fashion. However, even more people were eliminated and lost the qualification to enter the Skyfire Martial House. Shangguan Peng. Elder Lu glanced at the remaining 9 disciples and pointed out Shangguan Peng, who had the highest cultivation level among them. The weapon Shangguan Peng chose was a huge axe that weighed 150 kilograms. Coupled with his strong and burly body, it was extremely powerful. As Shang Guanping stood proudly in the middle of the ruins, a bear puppet flew out of the cage. It opened its bloody maw and attacked Shang Guanping with a powerful force. Although the violent bear puppet was extremely terrifying, and its explosive power was enough to crush many of the geniuses present, Shangguan Peng, who had been tempered by life and death situations, had long possessed the ability to fight above his level. As a large bird emitting green light appeared on Shang Guanping's body, his soul power erupted like a volcanic eruption. Gale slash! Shangguan Peng roared, and a huge axe shining with fire fell from the sky, carrying with it the power to destroy everything. It ruthlessly chopped the bear puppet's body, directly splitting a deep gash in its chest, and its huge body flew backwards. Strong, too strong. With the strength that Shangguan Peng displayed, I'm afraid that he has the ability to fight someone 2 levels above him. Seeing the power of Shangguan Peng's axe, almost everyone was shocked and did not speak for a long time. At this moment, Shin Tui had to admit that Shangguan Peng was much stronger than him. Unless he increased his cultivation level, he wouldn't have the courage to challenge Shangguan Peng. Shangguan Peng used his soul skill, Ardent Gale Slash, to severely injure the violent bear puppet. Shangguan Peng took advantage of the opportunity to pursue and attack. As his feet slid, his burly body flashed behind the violent bear puppet at an extremely fast speed. What a fast speed! Yi Chunfeng originally thought that Shangguan Peng was only terrifying in terms of pure attack power, but he didn't expect that his movement speed was equally astonishing. Go to hell! Without waiting for the violent bear puppet to come back to its senses, Shangguan Peng waved his heavy axe and ruthlessly chopped the violent bear puppet's head, directly chopping it off and ending the battle. This Shangguan Hong should be my biggest competitor. After seeing Shangguan Hong's terrifying strength, Yi Chunfeng felt immense pressure. He had to admit that the current him was definitely not Shangguan Hong's match. Yi Chunfeng. Just as Yi Chunfeng was marveling at Shangguan Hong's strength, Elder Lu called out his name. Yi Chunfeng, let me see how strong your fighting strength is. I hope that you won't disappoint me. When Shangguan Hong saw that Yi Chunfeng had come on stage after him, he revealed a proud smile. He suppressed his voice and transmitted it into Yi Chunfeng's ears. I won't disappoint you. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng didn't choose any weapon. He walked straight to the array pattern and slowly closed his eyes, beginning to control the array pattern beneath his feet. In just 3 breaths, Yi Chunfeng combined the inherited memories in his mind and fused them with the array pattern beneath his feet, controlling the large array that was formed from the array pattern. If Elder Lu and the others were to know that Yi Chunfeng only used 3 breaths to control the array pattern that they painstakingly inscribed, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Yi Chunfeng, aren't you going to choose a weapon? Although you are quite strong, you will be at a disadvantage if you take the puppet test barehanded. As Yi Chunfeng had great potential, Elder Lu specially reminded him out of goodwill. Thank you for your concern, Elder Lu. However, I am confident that I can pass the puppet test barehanded. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said in a manner that was neither arrogant nor humble. Overestimating yourself and seeking your own death. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's confident appearance, Shin Tu-Yi was very unhappy. He definitely didn't believe that Yi Chunfeng could defeat a rank 1 beast illusion master puppet barehanded. Alright then, release the puppet. Moo. When the beast cage opened, a barbarian bull puppet with stone-like skin, 2 horns that were sharper than blades, and 4 thick and powerful limbs rushed out with blood-red eyes. Barbarian Bull, Yi Chunfeng's puppet for the test, is actually a barbarian bull. Looks like even the heavens want to destroy him. Barbarian bulls were definitely the strongest beasts of the same level. There were almost no weaknesses on their bodies. Once a barbarian bull activated its berserk skill, its attack power would instantly increase by several folds, enough to kill enemies of a higher level. If Yi Chunfeng had chosen a weapon at the beginning, coupled with his divine power, he would have had a chance to kill the barbarian bull. But unfortunately, Yi Chunfeng didn't choose any weapon. At this moment, almost no one was optimistic about him. There were even a lot of people who were jealous of him who were rejoicing in his misfortune. Yi Chunfeng, when will you become more mature? What good will acting tough do for you? Ji Qingxue shook her head, feeling that his irrational choice was ridiculous. Seeing the approaching barbarian bull emitting a berserk aura, Yi Chunfeng seemed to have been scared silly. He stood there motionless. Scared silly, this Yi Chunfeng is actually scared silly. Looking at the motionless and unresponsive Yi Chunfeng, many people started to ridicule him. They didn't care about his life or death at all. Seeing that the barbarian bull's sharp horns were about to pierce Yi Chunfeng's body, Yi Chunfeng's half-closed eyes suddenly shot out rays of light as he took a step forward. And this step directly changed the power of the runes. Like chains, the runes bound the barbarian bull's 4 limbs, causing it to temporarily lose its ability to move. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng fused with the soul power of the blood egg and borrowed a small portion of the rune's power to punch out with a force of more than 10,000 jin. The terrifying fist brought along an incomparable pressure as it slid through the air. Wherever it passed, the air would explode and the air would surge. Boom!